Well,
that's better.
Okay, Doug, so we're all on the sheet. This is, well, I guess it's session 2 of Dogs in the Vineyard. Anybody watching this video, all 10 of you, we tried to play a session last week before this, and my computer went batshit. It may go batshit right now, and so this might just be an academic discussion. But we did manage to do 2 scenes, and so there's going to be like a bit of I was about to say incontinuity, but is that the right incongruity? Anyway, there's going to be a weird gap. We had 2 scenes. In those 2 scenes, we had one of our characters, let's say I think it was Brother Ehud, David's character. Brother Ehud talked to Sister Mara, had a die roll conflict with Sister Mara where the stakes were, would Sister Mara be able to reclaim her faith, right? We talked about her faith was shaky, and Brother Ehud ministered to her and was successful in that. So Sister Mara is stronger in her faith now. The other scene we had, there was not a dice conflict, but it was a good scene where Brother Adam, who's become something of like the default leader of this group of dogs. Brother Adam spoke with the steward Artemis, and basically the conversation revolved around, Steward Artemis, are you doing enough to preserve your flock here? Are you doing enough to call out problems as you see them and to appropriately administer to the people? And Brother Artemis more or less fessed up to maybe not doing the best job that he could be doing. And he said he agreed to pray on it. Church services are the next day, but before that, we have Brother Isaac and Brother Nuka are going out into the town at night, and we're going to have a little die conflict where the stakes are, do they learn something? Do they discover something like untoward going on in the town at night? Okay, and they have a hint that there's some stuff going on, but because there's definitely stuff that people don't want to talk about, and there's all kinds of like people dancing around things. This conflict will give us some information if they're successful. So I'm going to get a roll for your party going, and we're going to be in presumably certain Shiner. That makes no sense. There it goes. And I'm going to be rolling. 46 plus 2d10, which is the 2d10 is the level of the demonic influence that you have uncovered so far to this point. And so I'm going to go ahead and roll that, and I'm rolling in blue. And then if you each will roll acuity and heart, that'd be great.
Ewan, what color are you going with? I'll choose a different color.
Oh, it's Jag, but yeah.
Or Jag, sorry.
I'm yellow, I believe.
You're yellow? Okay. Oh, yeah, I guess it saved it. I guess I'm still purple.
Jag, you're really, really quiet. I don't know if you realize that or not, but.
Oh, yeah. It says that. Is that any better?
Maybe. I turned you all the way up and you're still pretty quiet. Say something again.
I'll just have a play with my settings. That's better.
Yeah. I think you should have to lean in a little bit more.
Great.
Awesome.
I rolled okay.
Let's sort these dice out. I'm going to put mine over on the right-hand side.
I'm on the left. On your right.
Grabbing dice. I don't mean to.
Only one of us can manipulate them at a time or it messes up.
All right. So we're all sorted out here. And I was going to let Isaac, since this was your plan, I'm going to let you make the opening raise here. So just give me a bit of fiction and then push your dice forward.
Okay, so I think we've already established we're walking down towards the main street or along the main street in the town, and there are small pockets of people who are just milling around doing bits and pieces, and it's already kind of past the time that I would expect. Most people have probably gone home and should have been eating and such like. Is that what?
Yeah, we had said that
What
like
happens
you might occasionally, as you're roaming around, you might occasionally find people like, maybe like people, if they have like a small like chicken coop or something, bringing the chickens in, or hanging up clothes to, or like taking in like clothes that were drying during the day or something like that, right? That sort of thing. But otherwise, getting ready to pin down for the night. So.
Okay. Okay, so I think that there is indeed a person who is herding chickens down the high street. That will do nicely, and I'll wander across to them and ask them how they fare that day, and how the workload is going, and whether they have had a productive day in the fields, or whether they've been fishing.
Indeed.
Who is it that we're seeing? Is it a couple of people?
I think it's. We'll just say it's a sister. A sister who, she's like shushing the chickens in, gathering some things, closing the little coop door, that kind of thing. Right? Putting my Stardew Valley knowledge to work here right now.
I remark on how well behaved her chickens are. Remark on how well behaved her chickens are, and
yes,
and ask her, are they providing plenty of eggs for the family? A goodly husband and some small children as well, perhaps.
Indeed, yeah.
In your house.
We'll name her sister. Her name will be Sister Kara, and what's your raise? What are you putting forward?
I will put forward a. Wow, that 9's dangerously high. I'm going to stick a 3, 3 and a 3 and a 3.
Okay.
I can only raise with introduced 2, so that's right.
And I'll respond with an 8, and Sister Kara says, she says, "Oh, brother, yes, everything's fine. I have to say though, you scared me, and well, and then you see that like she has like her hair uncovered and kind of like let loose for comfort, and she has her sleeves rolled up because she's doing work, right? And she's like, I hope you forgive me, but you caught me somewhat immodest. It was so nice to speak with you, though." And then she goes back into the house.
Okay.
And let's clear those dice real quick. And that'll make my move. I'll put forward 10. And basically, as you guys are continuing your circuit around the town, just seeing what you can see, right? That kind of thing. It's getting a little late, and you are beginning to think that like you're not going to turn up much. There may not be much going on, right? Maybe there's nothing like sticking out, right? Nothing like no signs of like false worship or anything like that going on, right? And in fact, there's a nasty little cold snap that blows through, right? Like really, really cold, starting to chill you through the bone, and you're thinking that maybe we just go in for the night, and you both have to respond to that.
Like, will we each put 1 die in?
You each do a C of 2. Yep. You each respond.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'll do my 2 highest here to match it.
Oh. Well, you only have to put the 4, really, because I have a 10.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'll do that. Oh, what is happening? Why? No.
I know what you're putting forward.
Yeah. Por qué? Yeah. So I think what happens is I take the cold wind as like actually the sign of like that we're doing the right thing in a weird way. Like it seems like a maybe not a demonic challenge or anything like that, but when hardship occurs, that's when you know you should be staying the course. And I grip my like poncho-ish cloak thing around me, and yeah, I think I just look more steadfast, perhaps.
Indeed. And what do you see with Brother Isaac?
I think I might have to go with a 3 dice, so that would be 4.
Unless you have a trait that would apply and you want to get a die roll in there.
No, I'll stick with that. Yeah, I'll stick with that. I think that the wind kind of picks up and ruffles my coat, and it probably knocks out of my coat. It probably knocks out my smoking pipe, which goes scurrying across the street. So I'm kind of distracted by that, but I forget the cold and rush after that in the wind, and kind of try not to get too flustered, and make sure that none of the townsfolk see what's kind of happened.
Cool. So you've got 3d4 fallout then, and get your move, Brother Luca.
I think it'd be like we're looking for signs that the town has been corrupted or
just anything.
Something
You're just looking
like
for
that.
anything suspicious, basically. Yeah, that's the way it was described to me. Is do you just learn something suspicious going on in the town?
Right. I think that I look for signs of corruption in the way that like either birds or insects are flocking to a particular location as if something were dead, like crows going to dead bodies, or insects flocking, or flies and things like that to I think these are the first signs of any kind of corruption, demonic or not.
Interesting. Nice. Put your dice forward.
So I'll do I'll do a 7.
I give. You see, you actually do begin to see owls again, just to kind of echo in our first session, right? You see some owls like flying overhead, and owls don't usually congregate in multiples, right? But you see a couple. There's like 1, 2, maybe 3. And as you're kind of like, these owls are kind of like flitting here and there, across the main drag of the town, and even off to some of the side streets, you find yourself in the rear of a building. It's actually the general store.
Oh.
And you hear, well, you see a lantern lantern like lit in a back room of the general store. And you hear laughter. You hear a man who's probably Arthur Sisson, and 2 women, and whatever they're getting up to it at night. I just want to find out how you respond and what you're going to do, and then we'll figure out where we go as far as the scenes.
I think I point to Brother Isaac and I say, nature's twisted there, and I point toward the owls and give like a curious cock of my head, and we'll follow your lead.
Brother Isaac, go ahead and roll 3d4 fallout for me.
I forgot too. Fallout is sometimes like pretty good, right?
Yeah. Sometimes you want fallout.
Clever.
Because if you get a 1, you get an advancement.
Yeah,
Right.
you got a 1. And So let's deal with
So it's a 6 and then with a 1 low. Awesome. So that's short-term fallout. Wait, where's it at? Let's see. Where's the little die thing? Oh, I have it on the sheet. That's why.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so short-term fallout, you get to choose one of those. Be thinking about that for a second. And I'm going to cut back to the other group. So, brother, I want to just have a scene with brother Adam and brother Ehud back at Steward Artemis's house. The other two have been out for a little bit, right? They've been kind of, you kind of expected them to be back in like maybe, it's not a huge street, a huge town, maybe like 15 minutes or so. Let's just have that scene. You guys are in that room that you're staying in.
As you come back into the room, I think I'll say, Brother Ehud, your place is set when you're ready, and I'll point to the bed. So there's 2 beds, and with 2 bedrolls on them, and 2 bedrolls on the floor, if I remember rightly. And so I'll point to one of the beds. Say your place is set when you need it.
Yeah.
Did you speak to the sister?
And I'll nod and kind of explain briefly like what we discussed. But really, my concern is keeping her strong behind her husband. So because I think that what really needs to happen is he's got to step up a little bit here, and he's going to need some support. And if he starts stepping up and doesn't have that support, he could be falling hard. But I think she's good for it. She's a strong woman.
She'll have our lead to follow as well. I think he's going to need a lot of support. He doesn't seem so sure of himself. And it leads me to wonder why he's in this position. There must be some potential in him. And I hope we can see it in the service tomorrow.
Tomorrow will probably be very telling.
You hear some commotion in the main room. You had heard someone maybe like knock, and Sister Mara answered the door, and then eventually Steward Artemis came, and there's some kind of argument happening in the front. Brother Adam, what do you do?
I think Adam looks at Ehud and kind of broadens his shoulders and puts his hands around on his belt and strides through to interrupt them.
Yeah, you see a woman talking really kind of having some kind of heated conversation. And it's a woman, a young woman. She is she's dressed in the very simple manner of a woman of the faith, appropriately covered up, black hair, very, very pregnant. And as soon as you step in, Brother Adam, she kind of just pushes her way past Sister Mara and Steward Artemis and says, "Brother, you gotta help me. You gotta help me. I'm so glad you're here. Please, please." And then Steward Artemis is he's like, "Calm down, sister, calm down." And I need to pull up my notes. Just give me 1 second. Look up one particular thing real quickly. He says, "Sister Leah, you have got to, it's late at night. You need to go back home to your husband and you just need to go back home." And this woman, Sister Leah, she's like, no, please, brothers, let me speak to you now. Brother Adam, what are you doing?
I noticed that you faltered when you said go home to your husband. Is that something that Adam would have noticed?
He was about to say go home to your husband and your family, but it's just to her husband.
Right. Okay. Yeah. He looks at the steward accusingly, and well, not accusingly, like kind of with a frown, and says, "Sister, if you are in need of an ear, then ours are always ready." And he's pretty much looking at the steward as he says all of that. Does Brother Ehud follow me in, or?
Yeah, I had followed you into the room to see what was happening.
Yeah.
Sister, sorry. So Sister Leah, she says, I'm starting to get worried, brother. I'm starting to get worried. And Steward Artemis is like, I must insist, Sister Leah, that you come back in the morning. This is not these young men have had a hard day's journey, and they've had everybody like trying to yap in their ear about this and that. Like, just come back in the morning. We'll walk to church together, like that kind of thing. And she's just like insistent, like, no, she wants to speak to you now.
I'll like put a hand on the steward and kind of interpose myself between the two of them. And I said, no, not to worry. I'll walk her back to her place. It's getting dark. I'll have a quick word with her, and if we need to talk more tomorrow, we can talk more tomorrow. All right.
So you take her back, I guess. Like, do you like go speak with her like just privately with you and Brother Adam, or what?
I mean, I would just talk with her like as I'm walking her.
Yeah.
To her home.
Oh, you're gonna walk her home. Oh, okay. Brother Adam, you going with him?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm doing the kind of with the steward as I'm backing out.
Indeed. We'll get to that in a moment. So back at the general store with the party going on in the back of the general store with Arthur Sisson and whoever these two mystery women are, they're definitely not his nieces. Brother Isaac, what do you do?
I look back at Brother Nuka and say, yes, you're right. I think that there is corruption here, certainly. That Arthur Sisson did say that he had his two nieces here. Others have said that they are not. So if they're not his nieces and then they are from this town, then there is something improper going on between probably people of the faith and someone else. We should end this bad road now. I think we need to intervene and make sure that he isn't spreading corruption to faithful.
Indeed, and he lied to you. That must be addressed as well.
Absolutely. It's just not acceptable, whether it's a person of the faith or not, to lie to another person. Herein lies the dark road.
Indeed. Would you take this man for a runner?
Just out of character, he wasn't a particularly athletic-looking fellow, was he? He was an elder.
No, if you look at the picture board, he's got a few. He's got a few extra.
I mean, those guys are always the runners, right?
Well, also, he's not scared of you. That was an important detail. Like, he doesn't think he owes you anything, right? So,
right.
I don't think he's a runner, but I think he's probably got some. He's probably used to protecting his store, and is not necessarily afraid to defend himself against us as dogs. I don't think that's going to be a problem for him. Let's hope it doesn't get to that.
This will be interesting because I'm not really sure, like, out of character, how to really go about imposing my beliefs on somebody else. So,
I'm wondering whether or not we offer to escort if they are ladies from the village, escorting them back to their proper homes.
Yeah, that'd be
Maybe
a
that's just
good
part of it.
pretense, right? Yeah.
sure, yeah, that sounds good. Although, yeah, we'll see how if they want to leave you. But yeah, let's go with that plan.
Yeah.
So I think this back room has a little this little back area. It looks like it was like built on later to the main store building, right? Maybe it's some kind of extra supply or supply space or whatever. But it has a little like door for like receiving supplies and taking out trash and things like that, right? So do you just knock on the door or what?
Can we have a look here and see if we can see the people first?
Yeah, of course. If you just kind of casually kind of like glance through the window, well, I think the windows have been blackened, so you can see the light, but you can see three figures, but you can't tell who it is.
It's like shadow puppet action.
One looks to be roughly the size of Arthur Sisson, as you recall him, though, Brother Isaac. So.
Okay, shall we knock on the door?
Yeah, and I would say, like, in a insistent manner, like forceful and loud.
It gets real quiet as soon as you knock. Right? Like they were laughing and and doing this and that, and then suddenly it like just gets real quick. And you hear Arthur Sisson say, "Come back in the morning. We're closed."
Justice keeps no hours.
Do you say that?
I kind of want to. It's so cheesy. But yeah.
You could probably just wrench the door open if you wish. So
the hour is late, and it is church tomorrow. You're right. So let us all to bed.
The door opens up slightly, and Arthur Sisson is there, like standing at the crack of the door, right? And he says, I didn't realize how late it had gotten. I will tell my nieces to go to bed immediately. Thank you for the reminder, brother.
Out of character, Jag, I want to just be like, would you like us to escort your nieces home?
Yes, absolutely.
And in my head, it's like the Seinfeld Elaine being like, "Well, George said."
So yeah, unless you do something, he's going to say, "Well, thank you for the reminder. I didn't realize how late it was getting. We're just recalling stories of my father, their grandfather, who's a very, very, very crazy, charismatic man." And he's going to shut the door on you.
I put my foot in the door to stop it from shutting.
Yeah, you do.
Let's set stakes. I think stakes are going to be, do you get in or don't you? Right? Like, does he shush you off or not?
Yeah. Also, if he puts his body weight on that door, your foot is going to be crushed.
And I think we'll just start straight with physical, because he's not like really clearly interested in talking about this, right? He's like going to try to like kick your foot out and shut the door, right? So, so physical conflict. We go to I think it's what, body and heart, or
so does that mean like if we were try to imbalance him and say like, we should walk your nieces home, implying that we already know that they're not nieces and they live in the village and we know where to take them, etc., that it wouldn't, like, we have to continue to escalate, and talking is before.
Yeah, I think I'm going straight to physical here. He's just going to try to physically push.
So talking is out.
I think talking is out. Yeah. He knows he's caught. He's just trying to trying to shove you.
Gotcha.
So body and heart. I'm rolling 10d6, and I have one relationship die that applies. It's a secret relationship, but it's for a total of 11d6.
So as fallout from the last one, I've taken a reduction in my heart, so I'm rolling slightly worse on that.
Got it. Cool.
But I have something, a 4 for Arthur's sister as a follow-up conflict. How does that work, or where does that come?
You just like remember you have the 4, and then you can just like include that as part of a raise or a C. So.
Okay, so that would be 4d6, would it?
Yeah, we'll get those dice on the table while you guys are getting your dice sorted. This can be with you too, Brother Nuka, if you wish. It's up to you.
Sure.
We cut back to the other scene. So Sister Leah, you're walking her home, and she's very pregnant. She looks like she's going to be due in weeks, if not days. Okay, and she says, "I'm so happy you're here. I knew, I was told that dogs would be coming through soon. That was the word that we'd received, and I'm just so happy. There are things that Sister Mara and Steward Artemis can't help me with. I think you know what I mean."
I look at Brother Adam, and I don't know that we do.
Sister, their job is to help you. Their purpose is to help you.
There's something going on in this town. I don't care what Steward Artemis says. I don't care what excuses he gives, and I don't care about Sister Mara. Her eyes are closed to it. But I'm telling you, the people who've been losing their babies, it's because they're possessed by demons. My baby in my belly, I believe, is possessed by a demon. I can hear it. When I sleep, I have the strangest dreams, like my baby's speaking to me. But it's not sweet things like you would expect a baby to say to its mother if it could speak to its mother. I know it sounds ridiculous, but terrible things, horrible things. It says lurid things I don't even want to repeat. But I know it's my baby. I know it. I can hear it. And I just know if I don't get this demon out of me before I'm due, I'm going to lose it. I just know it.
Look at Brother Adam.
There's been a number of pregnancies recently, Sister. Is this your first?
Yes, this is my first.
It's a very exciting time.
Well, it would be if we hadn't had the troubles that we have, and it would be exciting if my baby wasn't speaking to me at night in my dreams.
Besides these other folks losing their babies, you have another reason to think that they might be possessed?
I don't know. I know the book of life says that when sin infects a community, that things like this happen, and certainly we've got sin going on in this town, no doubt. But
what makes you say that?
I stop her as we're walking to and let you ask the question. Like, this is serious now.
Yeah. What makes you say that?
Well, I mean, she kind of like gets a little like, let's just say that, well, that she kind of like gets a little nervous and
speak directly now. You want to help yourself and help your baby. You tell us what's going on.
I'm gonna make this a conflict. We'll do a cutie heart to begin, but I'll go ahead and just fill her in on all my things here. This is Sister Leah. Stakes are going to be: does she tell you? Does she tell you what she knows? So. And
do you mind linking me to the dice roller?
Yeah, sure. Well, we need to finish our other conflict, so we'll finish up our other one, then we'll come back to this.
Okay.
But just be thinking how you want the conversation to proceed. So Arthur Sisson, he just like basically like says, "Oh, I must insist that you respect the integrity of my private property." Isaac was your name, correct? And then he just kind of like pushes his foot forward, and or kind of tries to like push your foot out and slam and close the door. And I'm going to go ahead and do a. I'll raise with 10, and that's just on you, Isaac. So you're muted.
Let's unmute that. I'll physically and verbally push back on him and say, well, and in the same way that we do respect the integrity and privacy of your own property, our concern is with the integrity of the people of the faith, the flock, and we believe that that this is something that you are threatening the peace of here. So not so fast, I think, and I'll shove back with my with my shoulder, which looks slight. He has underestimated the runt of the family. So,
indeed. Gotta roll an extra die there.
Let's hope this is the right ones.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, that's not it. Yeah, and so I shall. I'll match him.
And now, Brother Nuka, you could, or actually, I'll give you the next raise, Brother Isaac.
Okay. So I think actually I'm going to be in. I do believe that either Artemis or Mara suggested that Sister Clementine might have been involved with Arthur Sisson. So I'll push back the door and I'll say to him, we've come here to take Sister Clementine and your other guest back to their rightful homes. So do not stand in the way of the work of the dogs.
Mm-hmm. So what do you push for?
Otherwise, this will yes. And I don't know. I think I'd like to roll in another trait if I can. Just wondering whether my dogmatic naivety is enough to kind of take a very direct approach in that, than trying to I don't know.
Like you
go
think
around
he'll
the,
just listen to because.
yeah. I'm just cutting straight to the chase.
Yeah, I'm into that.
Him.
Yeah. Like you believe in your authority, right? Because you were set apart by the King of Life.
Are we cool with that then? So to roll that trait?
Yeah. Sure.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, all right. Ooh. It's not good. Knock a few down. There you go. I'm gonna stick in there with 11.
Hmm. And I mean, I can block it. So, and he just says, I push forward 12 to see. He says, you forget, Isaac, that I'm not a member of your faith. The only authority that I respond to is the territorial authority. That would be the territorial sheriff, who sometimes oversees the mail delivery, and the tax man. Now, and he kind of like, like again gives you a little like kind of a forceful like, kind of like imposition through the, the doorway. He's like, now if you wouldn't mind, please, I will see you in the morning. We stay open even on church. So, Brother Nuka, this is your chance to raise if you wish.
Yeah, sure. So 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, match it. Oh. All right, it's 11.
Okay.
And so it needs to be reflective of a physical thing, right?
No, it can be verbal or physical, right?
Oh, okay. So I think perhaps like I was hidden like not openly hiding, but he didn't notice me at first, and that's when I make myself visible.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, there is no way we are leaving this place without the right thing being done. And based on the way that you've acted tonight, I think you know that you've done the wrong thing already. Luckily, we're here to correct it. And then maybe I even like put my hand on Brother Isaac's shoulder and I like reinforce his foot with mine or something.
I'm going to add in acuity and will, as well as dice for my gun.
Okay. That escalated quickly. Shit got real in this memory cave.
My gun, and I'm going to make a trait, clean shot. It's a 2d8 trait, 1d8 gun, plus a d4, plus my acuity and will. For a lot of dice. Let's take a look here. Still only ended up with 6 high though on my d8s, which is not, well, still good enough to meet you though. He pulls out a gun. He just pulls it out and he says, "Gentlemen, I'm not going to say it again. Please enjoy the rest of your evening and come back in the morning." What do you do? Brother Isaac. This is for both, or that was me meeting you. So now it's Brother Isaac's raise.
These 4 that I have for Arthurcism is 46. Is that right? The vote of confidence.
Oh no, it's just a 4. It's just the number 4.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So I shall.
Unless it's my turn. Who went first? Was it me?
I think I started at the very beginning of this. I think.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
I think so. So yeah, is it my response?
Yeah. So I held up the gun. That was on both of you. So you have to meet. No, that was just me responding. Sorry, that was me responding to Brother Nuka. So it's your turn to raise.
Okay. Mr. Sisson, I appreciate that it's late and that you don't understand necessarily the severity of this. We have a mutual respect for the sheriff, for the territories, and for the laws of the book and your own deeds. While you may well feel that you're in the right here, you must also respect that we are in the right to protect the sanctity of the faith. So we shall happily leave you until the morning, once we remove the other ladies of the faith that are ensconced in your store. And I shall raise that with my peacemaker. Or will I? Not so fast. Right. All right, this might be all or nothing here, I think. Yeah, I'm going to have to go with that. So there you go. 13.
13. So once you have your gun,
I've not taken my gun out yet.
Yeah. You said you were raising a gun, right?
No, I'm just using my peacemaker trait.
Oh, your peacemaker trait. Oh, I thought that was the name of a gun. Sorry. I'll give and hold a 6 forward. He says, I think he realizes that like pulling the gun out on you didn't shake you, right? And I think he either respects that or fears it or whatever, right? And he says, please come in. And he like opens the door. As soon as he opens the door, you're hit with a very powerful smell, a smoky smell, right? Out of character, it's opium smoke, but you don't know that. But it definitely leaves you a little lightheaded, right? And you see 2 women, an older woman and a younger woman. They are there looking, the younger woman looks really scared to see you, right? In this haze of smoke, you see her like really like frightened, like, kind of like really tense. The older woman, she just kind of smiles and says, well, I guess it's a real party now. Then we cut.
Oh gosh.
So let's clear these dice. And
when we cut back again, the 2 of them are just going to be on the cushions.
Right. So basically, you wanted to get her to open up to you a little bit, right? I mean, she's well. I mean, here's the thing. I don't even know if there's a conflict here because I feel like she's already.
Yeah, I don't know.
She's already really heightened situation, right, or a heightened circumstance. I think she'll just say, look. She'll say, I don't know how much you know about what goes on around here. I don't know what Steward Artemis has told you, if he's told you anything at all, but Arthur Sisson and Sister Clementine, they are doing bad things in the back of that store. Bad things. Drinking and smoking opium and all kinds of stuff. Now I don't know. I don't know if that's why the demons are here, but I would suspect it.
Clementine. Do we know Clementine yet?
You just know that Arthur Sisson is friends with her or whatever. That's what was kind of what was shared with you, but you don't really know her otherwise.
Well, anything else that we might need to know about that we can address? We just got here this afternoon, and this is the first we're hearing about it.
I don't know, but are you going to help me? Are you going to exorcise this demon from my belly?
I think Adam wants to go over to the shop and like kick the door down. I think he's going to say like he puts either hands on either side of the sister and says, sister, would you pray with us in the morning?
Yes, of course. But are you going to help me? I mean, this baby's going to come any day, and I'm scared if I don't. I'm scared if I don't get this thing out of me, whatever it is that's hurting my baby. I don't think my baby's going to live, just like all the rest. And then she begins crying.
An exorcism is a long process.
She's crying. She's just like totally like emotional and like not listening to you right now.
Yeah.
As far as that goes.
And he's trying to make himself feel better by making excuses so that he can go over and like
right. Yeah.
And he's saying like so it's a long process, and the subject needs to be in the right frame of mind for such an invasive procedure. But yeah, I look over to Brother Ehud and I say, we need to see this Sissons fella.
And I'll kind of nod, like, you go ahead. I'll take her the rest of the way back and check on her home.
Cool.
Good.
And my plan is like when I get to her home, like I'll speak with her husband briefly, and then I'll probably like sanctify the place a little bit and see if that puts her at ease. Because I don't know if there's a demon. It might just be that she's having bad dreams, and this might, if it is a demon, this will kind of aggravate it. If it's not a demon, then it'll put her mind at ease, and she'll, be okay.
Sounds good. Let's take like 2 minutes. We'll come back. Okay.
Hola. How's everybody doing?
Good. I got my computer sorted, so that was a pain.
Is Windows operating much better now?
I mean, I had to cancel the download through some risky maneuvers and get my old system back up and running. And
well, wow.
Yeah, that is the one thing I will say. Like, I know I can always do that with Windows. Like, if I were to have a Mac and then it updated automatically, like, I have no doubt the update would like succeed, but then like it might just brick the machine.
Well, you don't have a time machine? Hello.
So the cast of Blackbrush Bend is being played by the cast of American Horror Story.
That's what I was about to say. It's all American Horror Story.
I've never seen that.
I'm putting up images of various characters right now.
That's the show that's like horror, but it has a like through line thematic thing each season, right?
Each season, yeah, it's campy as fuck too. Like, it's not it's not actually super scary. Yeah, I mean, the first season was kind of scary. The second season was a little scary, but it's mostly just a camp spectacle. It's the main thing about it.
It's pretty great.
It's enjoyable. Yeah, I really like it, but
I haven't gotten to watch Roanoke, and I don't know if how I'll be able to, because it's not going on Netflix.
Yeah, I'm only up through Freak Show, but I thought Freak Show was really good. Like, a lot of people didn't like Freak Show. I thought it was really good.
Oh no, I love Freak Show.
Yeah,
I also liked Hotel though. So
I haven't seen Hotel yet. Hotel's on Netflix, but I haven't watched it yet.
You gotta catch that quick because they're taking them down.
Yeah. Okay, so here's our. All right. So the two ladies on the right-hand side of Sister Theodosia, that's Sister Clementine and this unknown younger woman. And then Sister Leah, who I'm going to get a picture of right now.
Brother Adam really wants to get over to the store, but I am like, I was just thinking in the break, like, I'm really enjoying seeing where Jag and Fraser are going. So I'm happy to like get there much later, if that's all right.
Oh yeah, I'll probably I'm gonna have them, and I may cut to you at some point, but yeah, we'll sort it out. I'm just looking at this last picture. Thanks, Sister Leah. Just gonna get a good Paulson picture. Let's see here. There we go. That's good. All right. So yeah, let me insert that really quickly. So I'm going to cut back over to the general store here real quickly. So yeah, the older woman, his sister is Sister Clementine, and she's like, well, I guess it's a party now, right? And the younger woman who's there with her, she looks like really frightened, like, oh my God, we're caught, you know. Brother Isaac, what do you say? What do you do?
So we've definitely not seen either of these before, have we?
You have not seen these two women before, no.
No, okay. So I look at both of them, and I look at Arthur Sisson and say, well, it's definitely not your niece. And sisters, I am Brother Isaac. This is Brother Nuka. What are your names, please?
The younger woman says, okay, get her name, shit. Just realized I don't know her name. One second. That's Sister Fidelia. I had her mixed up last time. She's I'm Sister Fidelia. I don't even know why I'm here. And she's like, she gets up and she's like, we get talking and it gets so late. And she's like trying to like, she's just basically trying to like, she can't really get out because you're standing in the doorway, but she clearly wants to leave, right? And the older woman says, and I'm Sister Clementine, and you're not the first dog to come through here to find me back here one night. I suspect you're not going to be the last either, Isaac.
Well, Sister Clementine, I think that that is something that we will look to rectify now. This is clearly not your first transgression against the rules and guidelines of the faith. I'm disappointed to hear that you have sinned again.
I am known to do a bit of transgressing. It's true. I have a tendency to transgress. It's a bit of a bad habit of mine. You can tell she's a little drunk. And then she looks at you, Brother Nuka, and says, you're a mountain person.
Indeed, I am.
Why would you want to join the dogs? I mean, like, I know if I could dance around under the moon, calling out to the wild nature spirits, just letting it all hang out free and savage, well, that's what I'd be doing. And now here you are, all buttoned up with your hat and your funny-looking coat and your gun, threatening old women. What a life.
I love this woman, but anyway. As you can see from Fidelia here, every person knows right from wrong, regardless of where they're from. And I'm one of those people. I believe somewhere deep down you do too. Perhaps straying feels good. That's why people do it. But it's curious that you would do it for so long.
She gets up and she kind of like walks over to you, and she's dressed a little like suggestively, like she's got a little bit of cleavage showing, that kind of thing, right? Her blonde hair is down, and she clearly dyes it in some way because she's older, like she's too old for it to be still blonde, right? And she comes up to you and she says, and she kind of puts her hand on your cheek, Nuka, and she says, she's like, something about you mountain people always really get me geared up, Something about, I don't know, like it's your features, so angular yet soft, sort of masculine yet kind of exotic and feminine. It's very, very attractive. You're going to make a fine husband for someone someday. But it's a little too late for me, boys. I've been, she looks at Isaac, transgressing for probably 10, 20 years at this point. Everything's fine. I'm not the reason why them babies are dying. And she tries to push her way past you.
So I catch her arm as she does that and says, well, tell us what you know about these babies. Then.
I don't know anything about these babies dying. I'm sure it's demons. Who knows? But they're awfully late if it's because of me. About 20 years late by my reckoning. Arthur, you have a wonderful night. And she looks at Fidelia. I hope you're able to find your way home without too much trouble. She says, excuse me, brothers.
Nice. I say, I'm sure the first one was just as conniving as the last, and I look at the plump general manager there. I'm sure he tells you you're beautiful when he does, or when you do what he says, but I promise you that you're more beautiful if you did what you want without the thoughts of these transgressors in your head.
She turns to you and says, I've got Arthur's system wrapped around my little finger. Isn't that right, Arthur? Arthur gets a little nervous. She's like, I don't need his approval or anyone else's. Now, if you'll excuse me, and she will continue pushing her way past you to go home.
I don't know what to say.
Unless she wants that stakes here, she's leaving. So
I think it's dark and it's late, and however well seasoned you are with alternative ways of living according to one faith or another, Sister Clementine, I think it would probably be best if we accompany you to make sure that you reach your proper destination safely. We don't want any more.
I would love that.
Going
Please.
astray.
And she puts her arm out for you to take her arm.
And Sister Fidelia,
pious young man on my arm, walking me home at night. Gosh, it's almost like we're back east in the big city.
I can assure you, this is not like the sinful places in the east. This is the good land of the tree of the faith. So,
do you take her arm?
You can put those minds out of your put those thoughts out of your mind. And Sister Fidelia, do you live near?
She's like, yes, just about a quarter of a mile out of town. And she looks at you, Brother Nuka, and says, I would like someone to escort me home, if you would.
It looks at me, yeah, of course. I think if I went with her, she'd just continue to like fetishize me and not hear the issue. So I think maybe.
Well, no, this is Sister Fidelia wants to go with you. Sister Clementine, who's fetishizing you, she's going to go with Brother Isaac.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that's agreeable then.
Okay.
Oh, do we want to take them both?
They live in different directions.
Well, they're going to separate places,
yeah,
right?
They live in different directions. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Brother Adam, I'll let you run into either pair, whichever you wish. The choice is yours. Or neither. Maybe you just get there afterwards with Arthur. That could be interesting.
Yeah, both prospects seems interesting, but I think I would quite like to run into Brother Isaac and Sister Clementine.
And so she's a little drunk. She's barely able to like stand up, Brother Isaac. She's just kind of stumbling around as you like are, taking her out, down the way. And you see Brother Adam up ahead. And she says, "Another dog. I'm beset by dogs this evening." She's like, "That's all right. I can handle two of you. Come on, brother," she calls at you. You can both take me home.
I call out to. No, go on. I call out to Brother Adam, and declare that Sister Clementine is in need of spiritual and other upstanding example. I'm glad to meet you along the way.
So I think Adam tips his hat and nods and says, he makes an introduction to the sister and says, "Brother Isaac, a word, if you will," and kind of tries to like take a few steps away from the sister.
She says,
talk.
She says, "I'll just sit here," and then she sits down on the ground. Right, so you have some privacy now.
So I put my hand on your shoulder and say, in a very concerned manner, I say, "Brother, there were two of you, were there not?"
And there were two of them, that's right. Arthur Sisson has been entertaining the ladies of the faith in the town. Brother Nuka is escorting a young Sister Fidelia, back to her accommodation about a quarter of a mile the other direction. Sister Clementine is a regular offender to our strictures. As you can see, they've been smoking opium, drinking all manner of intoxicating liquors. The godless Arthur Sisson has led them astray.
And
I fear that this one may this one relishes having fallen off the path. But I think that Sister Fidelia is perhaps more a soul that can be salvaged. There is an example to be made here, perhaps.
so what kind of impression am I getting from Isaac? Are you quite nervous, or have you got business to do? Is that what's the your outlook?
Yeah, so I'm kind of I guess I'm still relatively naive with dealing with this kind of transgression amongst people of the faith. So I'm kind of, all I know is that I need to get her back and kind of make sure that she's in a more faithful house. But also I'm kind of a little bit disgusted that this is the way that she's carrying on as an elderly member of the town. I also mentioned that she's also made some comment about the children who are dying, and quite frivolously has referenced some demonic influence. And I think that there is more behind her throwaway comments than she's perhaps letting on.
So I put my other hand on your shoulder and say, "And what will you do with her when you get her home, brother?"
I think she needs to be. Isn't exercising too great? She seems to be without any remorse of her actions. Perhaps she needs to have this forcibly extracted from her. This way of thinking, and I would welcome an experienced dog to support that.
I have no experience of that, brother. Ehud and I, we're planning an exorcism of our own, perhaps in the morning.
What a great cut. I'm going to cut over to Brother Ehud. So you've taken Sister Leah back to her home. You actually have to trek out a little ways to get her home. Probably about maybe about half a mile or so, 3/4 of a mile, out of town where her little farm is. And you guys are just chatting about different things. She's asking you about your home life and your brothers and sisters and that kind of thing, right? Just normal sorts of, talk you would get at a church social function, right?
Yeah. No brothers and sisters. So is this Sister Leah on the left side?
Yes, Sister Leah is being played by Sarah Paulson for this.
Oh man, we got ourselves a pretty good cast.
Yeah, and for anybody watching, Sister Clementine is being played by Jessica Lange. If you couldn't tell by how I was playing it, so. And so, so she's like, "Oh, no brothers and sisters. How unusual for a faithful family."
Yes, well,
I've got 10. Can you believe that? 6 sisters and 4 brothers.
Well, King of Life blesses.
Well, I have to tell you, this has been really, really nice, Brother Ehud. This little walk, it's really helped take my mind off this evil thing inside of me.
Well, now about that, we're gonna do what we have to do, and when we get back to your place, have a chat with your husband, and we're gonna see that we'll lay the groundwork, so to speak, and you let me know how it goes tonight, sleeping, if you have any dreams or anything.
And just then, someone is on the path right in front of you. You didn't even hear them coming. They're just there. It's Sister Theodosia, the older woman with the red hair.
Okay.
And you have your lantern out or whatever, and you can see her funny kind of glassy eye staring at you. And she says, "Well, Sister Leah, I thought we talked about you not going out at night like this. It's not good for the baby. You should be in bed."
Well, now she had something important she wanted to talk about. Something we can help you with. It was Sister Theodosia, right?
Sister Theodosia, yes. And what is your name, brother?
Call me Ehud.
Brother Ehud, what a lovely name. Yes, I'm Sister Theodosia. I've been helping Sister Mara with midwife duties, and I live nearby. And I'll be happy to take her the rest of the way, Brother Ehud.
Well, now appreciate that, but I've gotta see her place for myself. Make sure I take care of a few things there, and figure I better speak to her husband. What's your husband's name, ma'am?
And Sister Theodosia says, kind of looks at Sister Leah, and Sister Leah kind of looks back at her, and Sister Leah says, my husband's not, he's not here right now, Brother Ehud. I'm staying by myself. Sister Theodosia has been helping me while he's gone.
Oh, well, I wish you'd said something sooner. You sure that's safe?
Oh, it's fine. Blackbrush Band is real safe. We don't have any trouble with mountain people or anything, and well, it's all right.
You're a bit of a way out here, though.
Well, Stuart Artemis checks in on me. It's okay. Sister Theodosia, she's very helpful. Sister Theodosia gives you like a sort of yellow-toothed smile and says, "Yes, I'm practically like a mother to her."
Is that right now? And are you married, Miss Theodosia?
Oh, God, goodness no. My husband passed a long, long time ago.
And you don't have any children of your own to stay with?
No, I do not. Sadly, I was not blessed with children by the King of Life. It is one of the great sadnesses of my life. I've been blessed instead with insight and understanding of people and of the faith.
Is that right? How's that work for you?
He's like, Our faith, Brother Ehud, is very old, older than even perhaps the prophets know, old and filled with very interesting history. And I have been blessed by the King of Life to have been exposed to some of this history.
Well, that sounds like you have really got yourself something. You going to be at church service tomorrow morning?
Yes, I anticipate being at church tomorrow.
I sure would appreciate learning a little bit more about this then.
And then she kind of just takes Sister Leah and says, "Well, thank you so much, brother, for your help. I'll see her back home."
Well, I'm still planning on sanctifying the place if it's all the same to you. I'm sure you wouldn't mind her staying in a safer place, spiritually speaking.
Let's set stakes. I think the stakes are whether you go all the way back or not. So we'll do acuity heart, just talking for now.
All right. I still need to link to that
Oh, sorry.
to the die roller.
Let's give her a thing here. And I'm gonna make a trait with Sister Leah at 1d8. So I'm rolling a grand total of 96 and 1d8.
Wow, that's a lot.
You can make traits with Sister Leah or her if you wish. You can make it like you have trait dice you can make on the fly if you wish to get that bonus.
Gotcha. And it would pull out of my relationship pool, I'm guessing.
Right. Yeah. And then you just create the relationships with your pool.
Yeah, I'll do a 1d8 with Theodosia.
Okay. Good.
Suspicious.
Oh, you just make the trait or make the relationship.
Make
yeah, just Sister Theodosia 1d8. That's
okay.
It. And now the dice are on the table. I'm going to cut away to Nuka. So this young sister, Sister Fidelia, she's like, "Thank you so much for walking me home, brother. I feel awfully guilty about being in that place."
It is good to hold on to that feeling. It tells us what is right. Sometimes what feels good is what we think is synonymous with what is right, and we have to examine that feeling to see if it's true or not.
And she kind of looks at you and kind of turns her eyes down a little bit, kind of she's a little shy or whatever, right? And smiles. And she, as you're walking back, she's like, Will you tell me about your people?
What would you
Tell me about the waters of your homeworld, Usul.
Nice. Sure. As we walk, I say, you know, I come from a village in the mountains where we, you know, it's not such a different life than you, and that is why being here with you is not such a big change. You know, if other people were to come out and visit with us and do more than simply trade, they see that most people are alike.
Mm. And you guys will go on like this for a little bit. And she says, Brother Nuka, I hope you don't think this is too forward of me to ask, but, well, my husband's out tonight. He's doing some late night work, and I was wondering if, well, I feel a little scared being home by myself. Would you mind staying the night? I can make a comfortable place for you in our home. I'm setting stakes. Stakes are you stay the night.
Okay. Meanwhile, I'm like, you're married?
I'm going with, so it's a cutie heart. This is Sister Fidelia. I'll just get a new room. I'll pull up a new roll for your party room.
Okay. And it's a cutie heart is 8.
How can we get a new room? Oh, we just click new room, I guess.
Hmm.
But then I wonder, will that clear the other room? I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll test it and find out. I think we're good. This is vaguely loved Toad. We're gonna and
what a weird thing. Okay.
I'm gonna just straight up make a relationship with you right now.
Okay.
At 2d10.
Straight up.
For 96 and 2d10.
Okay, so I'm rolling my
Acuity and heart, unless you want to make it, and if you want to make a relationship with her right now, you can do that as well. My rolls are so shitty though. My high was a 6 on all that. God.
I'll just roll the 8d6 and on purples. Wow, that's a lot of 3s.
And my raise is just going to be the initial offer of like, hey, will you stay with me? And I'm pushing forward 12. So.
Okay. So I don't have what I need.
You can counter with 3 or get a trade in there to get another die.
Yeah.
You take fallout if you do 3. So.
Could I bring in a strong relationship with my home village and say that like where I come from, that would not be like a thing that people do.
You can't do relationships once it's started. You can only do traits and
okay.
And gear. So.
My father taught me how to survive in the wilds. Can I bring in assume best intentions then?
Sure, yeah. Makes sense in this context.
Another 3. Bloody hell. Okay. So if I don't match you, it means I concede?
No, you have. If you just see with as many dice as you need to see, and then you take that many fallout dice at the end, or you can just give if you want to just hold the 6 for later. So, I definitely have a big advantage on you here, though. Unless you intend to escalate by beating the crap out of her or something. I think you're probably fucked on this one. So.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'll keep it going for a little bit, and I'll do 3 dice
Okay,
then.
so you've got 3d4 fallout so far.
Yeah.
But basically, like, yeah, her offer, and then how do you, like, you tell me about your hapless response, basically.
Yeah. I kind of flounder, and especially after I just told her to, like, hold on to the feeling of guilt because it tells us what to do. And then she's like, Pete, by the way, I'm married and you should stay over. Right? That's not the way. So I think I am flustered, and I
Yeah.
simply just say, like, I think I actually do just say you're a married woman, and can kind of flounder about.
Yeah, so you're just a little flustered. I'm into that. Let's cut back over to Isaac and Adam for a moment. It'll be your Nuka. It'll be your race next. Let's cut back over to Isaac and Adam. At a certain point, Sister Clementine is like, "It's a little cold out tonight, brothers, and I'm sitting here in the dirt. I think it would be good for us to keep going. What do you say?"
That is a fair assessment of your spiritual position. There's no question about that. And
I think
Go on.
what we would have missed is Adam saying, like, basically that if you think that she needs to be exercised or purified in some way, then he will stand with you to do it.
I wonder whether or not it's perhaps anointing with sacred earth or something like that will be sufficient rather than a full exorcism. I think.
Yeah, you could just do a regular.
And probably this is something that needs to be done perhaps in front of the congregation, because this is the other person who is with us was quite a young and impressionable sister, and I think that maybe we need to demonstrate that this is not the kind of influence that the elders of the community should be doing. So maybe defer, or well, do this at church in the morning. Do you think?
I think so. And Adam strolls over to Clementine and says, "Sinner, you will be at church in the morning. We will all be at church in the morning." And kind of he like raises his eyes so that they just see viewable.
She says, "But first, fine, but first, you got to help me up."
Yeah, I'm really rough though. Like, I grab her by the shoulders and yank her up and kind of.
And she's like, "Don't you know how to be respectful to your elders?" Gosh.
And I think I'm in fact pushing her in front of us. If Isaac's coming to, like, I'm pushing her in front of us like she's a criminal or something.
You know, she's just complaining. She's like, "Oh, what are you, 18, 19 years old? Put a funny coat on you, and suddenly you just know everything in the whole world, don't you?" As you're kind of pushing her forward. She's like, fine. I'll be at church. It'll be great. I'll say my words. I'll repent of my sins, and you'll leave and go on to the next town. And everything's going to be just like it was before. And I will reiterate, I don't have anything to do with them dead babies. And she stumbles into her house.
So, for someone who protests so much about that, she seems to, well, who professes to not know very much, she seems to be fairly intent on talking about him.
They're all to blame, if you ask me, brother.
There's enough sin in this town to go around for sure.
I will cut back to Brother Ehud. You can raise. She's kind of made her intentions clear. Stakes are set. Whether you end up assisting, going back to her house or not, basically is what it boils down to.
So the first move is a raise?
Yeah, I'm letting you raise. I'm letting you start.
Okay.
You raise and see, raise and see, raise and see, back and forth.
Gotcha. I'll set 10.
Okay. And just your initial, insistence is fine. I don't need you to narrate that. I'll respond with 11 to C, and I'll just say, Sister Theodosia says, Brother Ehud, of course, I don't expect you to understand everything about our faith, you being as young as you are, but one of the things that you might want to keep in mind is it would be very, very untoward for a young man, even a man holy such as you, to come into a home this late at night with two women. That would be a little untoward, don't you think? And now it's my raise. And I put forward 10.
Forward 10.
Yeah, for raise. And then she says, and she kind of just says, she kind of interposes herself between you and her. She says, now, Brother Ehud, I can't wait to speak to you tomorrow about these new and interesting revelations that I've received regarding our faith. It's going to be wonderful. You're going to have your eyes opened. And as she says eyes, you can see her weird glassy eye, right? Reflecting in the lantern light. But for now, the night is long.
Indeed. Yeah. I understand what you're saying. I understand that you might think that it would be inappropriate, but surely it can't be inappropriate if you're keeping a keen eye on us.
So what do you see with?
Let's see. You played 10?
I played 10. Yeah.
Okay. I will do 11.
Okay. It's your raise.
Have you ever heard the story of my namesake, Ehud? Surely you have. You seem so insistent you have so much knowledge and insight even beyond the good book.
And
I'm trying to bring in my trait, read the good book every night.
Yeah, go for it. Roll it.
3d10.
It's tough.
See if I get some good numbers here. Yeah, I do. I'll just if I play 17, like what happens then?
I will work in.
I'll play 11.
Okay. Yeah, you don't have to go as high as 17 to get me to react, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to give her a trait. Her trait is going to be revealed mysteries at 2d8. And that gives me a very lame result. Do I want to just give? I think I just want to give.
All right.
She says, I can tell that you are very, very studious dog. So many of you young men who come through here, all you care about learning at Bridal Falls is how to ride a horse and how to shoot a gun. The tendency to want to look deeper into the mysteries of our faith are minimized, in my estimation, in Bridal Falls. But I can tell that you are a seeker of truth. I can tell that you have an inquisitive mind, Brother Ehud. Please, come back with me. Come back with us. Assure yourself that nothing strange is going on, at Sister Leah's home, and you and I will have a wonderful conversation about the mysteries of our faith. Perhaps tonight even. And then she walks ahead with you.
Yeah, I'll kind of tip my hat to her in deference.
I'm holding 4.
All right.
Cutting back to Brother Nuka. You're raised, Brother Nuka.
Yeah, so I want to do what was it? I care for everyone as a trait to bring in, and
Sure.
the way I want to do that is to say, let's see what I get. That's not too bad. So yeah, what I want to say is that I assure you that the best thing for you is to be alone and reflective tonight of what you've done or almost did, and in that reflection and I don't know the right word to put it, but yeah, in that reflection, you'll do service to yourself as well as your husband, and that is the way in which I will care for you tonight.
So what do you push forward?
I'll put forward 7 and 5.
I'm gonna do a trait. She has a trait called Very Pretty.
Okay.
At 2d10. And I meet your 12 with a 12. And she kind of like pushes her hair back, and the moonlight hits her just so, right? And you can see like even in the darkness and the moonlight, you can see that she has her face is slightly flushed, and she smiles and says, I know you're right. It's just that, well, I get so frightened all alone, and I promise I won't do anything, Brother Nuka, anything that would well, tempt you away from your calling.
Okay.
And I'll raise. These are gone. I'll raise with 11. And she basically just takes your hand, and it's very soft. And she takes your hand and she strokes the back of your hand with her other hand. And she says, "You trust me, right?"
So it has to escalate to physical if I want more dice, basically, right?
Yeah,
unless it's
what
a
does that mean in this context?
What about scaring her in the sense of the ramifications of like what happens to people that break the face in a supernatural sort of context? Like I'm thinking about removing my cloak and showing her my tattoos, which are essentially like scars of the things that I've done wrong and want to remember, and I want that to frighten her.
I think you're still talking to her, though. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel like physical to me.
What if I chest bump with that? Dang it. Okay.
You could, if that's a trait, you can bring it and go for it. But
yeah, well, I'm versed in the supernatural via heritage. So would that work for?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, if that's your approach. Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that. And that's another 2d6. Just like every day I'm struggling. Oh, 2 6s. Oh. Okay, yeah. So I'll use that immediately in defense, in rebuttal. And yeah, so I remove my cloak, and I've got like one of those tunics that are open, and I show her essentially a depiction of the pain that I've internalized, and I say, penance is hard, but everyone must do it." And yeah.
And do you want to just roll forward with that as your raise too. Like it's a pretty bold move. Or you want to follow up with that with your raise?
Sure, yeah. I guess I'll do the 2 3s. That's all I got.
And I'll see with the 6 as well. And she says,
Jeez.
she says, and she kind of reaches out tentatively, like to touch your scars and your tattoos and stuff, like almost like she's caught up like in all of it, right? And you can just feel her fingers like soft and silky on your chest as she does so. And then she says, I'll raise, just get this wrapped up here because
just crush me.
She's got the advantage here. So I raise with 8, and she just kind of says, I'm just so lonely. My husband, he's running around doing the things he does, and it's just been so long since I've heard felt a man in my home at night. I'm just feeling. I'm sorry. I'm being silly. I'm being crazy. She says, and that like she's backing off, but she's really not backing off. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, we're playing chess. Okay. I want to quote scripture from the Book of Life to get 1d6 just scrape for life. And like the passage is essentially, no matter the circumstances, it is not okay to acquiesce to the temptations of someone who's astray.
I'm into that.
4.
It's not enough.
So I can use 3 dice though, right?
You can use 3 dice, but you basically are like, she's winning, right? Like your move is not deterring her or yourself, right?
Okay, well,
you'll be up to 64 fallout at that point.
Okay, well, I'll just do that anyway. I'll do 9 with 3 days to rebuke that.
And you only have 1 die to. I can't remember what. Gosh, I guess I can pull out a trait, I suppose.
Just to win. I guess I could just win.
I've got more traits to spend, so I've got free dice too. I can just bust out a D10 because.
Great.
But what? But it's your move now, though. Like so. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But you only have 1 dice. Does anybody remember the rule? If you only have 1 dice, like what happens? Like, does he have to get another die in there, or does he just yield?
Yeah, I think you have to raise with 2, otherwise.
Yeah, you give.
I think so.
Maybe can I use my coat, and the way that I rebuke it is by wrapping it around myself in a defensive manner.
Sure, yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, like because you I like how your move to not get into a romantic situation with her was to take your clothes off and show your chest.
Here. Well,
that might be why you're losing, brother Nuka.
Well, I'm a young dog, Okay, so I'm gonna do.
Okay. We have a note here from Jag. You can actually raise with 1 die if it's your last one, but since you get your cloak, it's fine. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's what I do. I rebuke it by using my presence to, in a defensive manner, to wrap myself back up in the cloak, in order to sort of demoralize her thoughts. Never have I worked so hard not to get laid.
That doesn't mean that's not necessarily what's going to happen. She just wants you to stay the night. That's it.
Yeah, but
this might be totally innocent on her part. She might not be trying to seduce you, right?
Yeah, But being alone with your penance is right.
Anyway, what was your die result? What'd you get?
Oh, I put forward a 6 with that.
Okay. Oh, I need to refresh, I guess. Oh, okay, got it. I'm gonna roll a d10, one of my free dice, just because.
Okay.
Oh. Do I want to do another one? I'll do another one. I have free d8 too. That's better. I think I'll yield and keep it. I'll keep the 5.
Oh, okay. Oh, so then next time you can just bring in a 5 whenever. Is that what happens?
Yep.
Oh, interesting.
She says, "You're right. I'm sorry. I don't know why I thought that. That's very inappropriate. I'll just thank you so much for walking me home, Brother Nuka." And then she just goes. But as she goes, I think she kind of looks back at you in the doorway, like kind of with regret in her eyes.
Yeah, and I just call out, hold on to that feeling of guilt. It will make you a better person.
Let's do one quick scene with Brother Adam and Brother Isaac, then we'll have a break. So you take Sister Clementine back home. I guess you push her back into her house, right? Anything else beyond that? Are we good or what?
Is it apparent that she lives on her own or with other people?
She does live alone. One thing you're going to notice though as you go in is she has I think like at some point like you see like a sepia toned like photograph, like at one point like her and her family like were photographed together, and you see her with her parents and some siblings, and one of her siblings is a young Sister Mara. So Sister Mara and Sister Clementine are sisters as well. You'll notice that as if you like look around, like while she's kind of like where you're kind of, putting her in bed or sending her to her room or whatever. And she says, "Well, thank you so much for the gentlemanly escort. I guess I'll be going to bed now. Gotta get some sleep, so I'm good to go for church tomorrow."
You do know where it is, don't you?
Oh, yes, I can't miss it. I have no doubt that Mara and Artemis will be by to pick me up. Thank you so much for your kindness, brothers. I do hope you're able to figure out what's going on with all these dead babies. And she closes her door.
Is she closing her bedroom door
Her
or
bedroom
the
door?
door?
Yeah. It's just like a simple 2 or 3 room house. Yeah, similar layout to Artemis and Mara's house.
I'll just do a quick scour of the kitchen or the outer rooms. Make sure there's no bottles of liquor or anything illicit that needs to be confiscated.
No, nothing like that. But one thing you'll notice is she doesn't have there's not a lot of cooking supplies or anything like that. Like she clearly doesn't do the normal sorts of things that women of the faith are expected to do or whatever, right? Even like spinsters and unmarried women would help out with other households, right? She doesn't do anything like that. No knitting, no knitting projects, nothing of the sort.
I say we may see her tomorrow if the God of Life doesn't strike her down for trying to enter a holy place.
Anything else before we cut there?
I don't think so.
No, it's just interesting to note, for the time period and society we're describing, we currently have 4 women, none of whom have men currently staying at their place. It's interesting.
Well, Sister Clementine's older, so and she's probably not lying. Her husband probably did die a while ago, right?
Theodosia or Clementine?
Clementine, yeah. That's right. Theodosia said that. Well, Clementine probably was married to at a certain point, right? But is no longer. Theodosia, though, yeah, certainly was married, and
then we have 2 married women whose both of their husbands are gone right now. So that might be something to explore. Just throwing that out there.
Indeed, indeed. Let's take 2 minutes.
So she's quite a piece of work, is Sister Clementine.
Yeah. I hope I didn't hijack that scene. I felt like, yeah, it was quite a fun interaction between the two of us, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. No, not at all hijacked. I enjoyed that. That was good. Yeah, exorcism would probably be a bit too extreme. I think there's. I was just having a look in the book. And yeah, so there's things like ceremonies and stuff like that. So that there seems to be something like that's more appropriate. So yeah, if something like that transpires, that might be an interesting look at the system as well. That's narratively interesting as well for what might happen in church.
Yeah, in terms of like a strange kind of conflict.
Yeah, yeah. And there's this other thing, authority of 3 or something, is it? I can't remember what it's called now. Hang on.
So I wonder how much our characters think we've got to the bottom of it, because Adam is very much like, if he sees a problem, then that's what the problem is, rather than like there must be deeper levels to this. So every time he's seen a problem, like he's gone after it. But I wonder if between us we can see like a systemic thing going on or not.
The problem with Sister Clementine, out of character, she's not lying, right? Like, she's been transgressing and drinking and doing bad stuff with Arthur Sisson for years and years, right? This baby thing is recent, you know.
Yeah, Adam wouldn't see it that way. Like, he'd see problem and problem and put the two together. So hopefully the others are a bit more forward thinking.
All these characters are so good, Jason. So good.
Brother Ehud, you are taken into the home of Sister Leah, with Sister Leah and Sister Theodosia, and you have a funny feeling as you're approaching the house. And as you step through the threshold of the front door, that funny feeling is given life in the form of what appears to be a sort of wicker maze, M-I-A-Z, hair corn, a wicker maze kind of like doll thing. Several of them, like positioned in different parts of the house, and one particularly near Leah's bed.
What are all these little figurines for?
I promised that I would lift the veil from your eyes, Brother Ehud. It's just going to happen a little bit earlier than anticipated. The King of Life. The King of Life had a queen, don't you know? A bountiful queen. And I believe she has grown angry that we as a people have ignored her for so long.
Is that right? And that has to do with these things?
These totems are an expression of our acknowledgement of the Queen, the bountiful Queen, that we invite her, that we accept her into our lives. Isn't that right, Sister Leah? Sister Leah looks a little nervous and doesn't really want to say anything.
You never considered some of the commandments when you were forming this idea in your head, Theodosia?
Oh, I assure you I did not form this idea in my head at all. And I think I'm going to set stakes here.
If you don't, I will. I know what I want.
Let's see whose stake. What are your stakes? What are you thinking?
My stakes are probably more dramatic than yours.
Mine are, she wants to shake your faith in the word as you come to know it.
Mine are, I want to drive her out of the town.
That's too broad. I think narrowing it down would be.
She starts packing.
I mean, I think if you want to like frighten her and give her, I think like you can. I think like the stakes are, you can. I mean, she'll just leave right now. Like, she has no reason to like get into an argument with you, right? But what she wants though is to actually like just preach to you a little bit and see if she can get you to question everything you've been taught.
Yeah, I mean, like in the context of like what she is saying, like she's a heretic. and maybe a dangerous heretic like a witch. So I would either I would be escalating this pretty hard if I was a dog. So
we can. So we'll start there. We'll start with talking. Acuity and heart, which isn't. Hers are pretty good. And I'm going to take my sister Leah dice too, because she's very, very invested in sister Leah's baby right now. So I'm rolling a total of 96 plus 1d8.
Okay, so
I also have a hold of 4.
So we should clear these?
Yeah, we can clear these.
Okay.
So I've got 96 and...
I have 8d6 and 1d8.
Okay.
Okay.
Indeed. And the demonic influence is bumped up to 3d10 now because you've witnessed open heresy. And I'm going to make my move. I'm going to raise.
Okay.
I'm also adding in the demonic influence of the town.
Okay.
Which is 3d10. For a 10 and 8.
Oh my God, that's bullshit.
But I raise with 10. And she begins speaking. And as she begins speaking, there are several like oil lanterns lit throughout the house. They actually like dim on their own until all you see is just Sister Theodosia's like white face, kind of like in the darkness. And she says, "When these little babies started to die, I got on my knees and I began praying for the Ehud. And the King of Life answered my prayer. He took me down a long, dark corridor. And at the end of this dark corridor, there was a door, and he opened it. And there she was, his wife, bountiful queen. And I knew what my calling was."
All right. I'm bringing in... Right now, I'm bringing in read the good book every night, and my copy of the good book. So that's another d6 and 3d10. Okay. So then I have, oh, that was only 1d10. Let's try that again. 2 more. Okay, did not do much.
No.
Okay, so there's no benefit to me beating your raise. I just need to match it, right?
Yep, you just need to match it. Yeah. Unless you think she's got the upper hand here and you want to just give and take a 6 on her for later.
No, that's not what's happening here. All right, so I match with 10. And I pull my book out of my cloak. I say, commandment number 1, thou shalt not have no other gods before me. Commandment number 2, and I take one of the dolls and like throw it on the ground. Thou shalt make no graven images.
Your raise.
And I think I pull out my revolver. 2d6, 1d4. And you can see it in the dimness of this room after these lights have faded a little bit. And I'm raising 10. And I say, and then said the Lord, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. as I brandish my weapon.
I reverse with a 10. And in the darkness, you feel a cold hand take your own and squeeze very hard, and you drop the gun. And then I keep that 10 for my raise. Let's just delete all these dice here. I keep that 10 for my raise, and I put up a 6 for 16. And
Okay.
you drop your gun. You feel this, like, whatever this is, like, grab your hand. And she says, I can see you felt her. You felt the touch of the bountiful queen. Don't you see now her power, Brother Ehud? Don't you see that she is real? She does not mean you any harm. She wants only what is hers. She wants only the respect and acknowledgement that all women seek from their husbands and their children. And then she kind of like, and you feel it. You feel this like presence behind you in the darkness. Like it's heavy. It's there, right? It's not Sister Leah. And she says, I know you can sense her. Go back to your brothers. Tell them of your revelation. We are entering a brave new time, brother. We are on the very precipice of something fantastic. Something that's going to water the soil of the faith for many years to come.
And I want to bring in my motherless trait.
Mm.
The Lord did not need a wife or a woman. If you truly did study the good book, if you truly did understand like you say you understand, you'd understand that God is beyond. Though we call him our heavenly Father, he is God. He is both for men and for women, and he does not have a counterpart.
What are you seeing with?
Well, do you think that brings in my motherless trait?
Oh, go for it, yeah.
Okay. Because I think in his head...
It's perfect, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, in his head, like, he sees that, like, there's not this great fundamental difference between, like, men and women. And, like, it has insight into his theology because of that.
Yeah.
All right. So what happens if I can't match?
You just raise, you just match with as many dice as you need, and then you take fallout equal to that in D4s.
Okay.
So it looks like you're doing at least 4.
Yeah. Just trying to see how to play this. 8, 12, 16. Yeah, I'll just play four fours.
Okay. Obviously, she's not persuaded, but you get to raise now.
Yeah.
And you're at 4d4 fallout presently.
And what's not 2d4, 4d4?
44. However, you get this number of d4 is equal to however many dice you had to use.
Okay.
That's your
And
raise.
And how did you keep your 10 on the table?
Because I reversed you with a single die.
I see.
When I see you with a single die, I get to keep it for my raise.
I see.
I'd cut to the other group, but I feel like there's no other scene until this is done. So sorry for spotlight management here, but this is kind of where we ended up. So Or you can just yield and keep 6 for her against her later.
Yeah. Yeah. I will.
Your faith's shaken.
I mean, then why would I have done the whole Fallout thing? Like, I shouldn't have done that if I was just going to yield now.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, just say you can. I mean, you don't have to. It's an option. I mean, if you thought you wouldn't have done that, if you think you would have just bailed out at any time, you could keep your highest die result. So.
Yeah.
If you have other traits to add in, maybe it might be why you kept going. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons.
Right. And if I escalate this to physical, more dice come into play.
Yep.
For both of us or just for me?
If I also go physical, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I take out my jar of earth and I throw it kind of at her feet and legs. Like, get it to smash on the ground.
Oh, nice. This is nice and threatening. So you'll add in body because you've already rolled hard. So
yeah. So 2 dice plus the jar of earth, so it's another d6. Right. So 3d6. I'll put 10 out there.
Okay. I'll do my physical too. So I'll roll in 3 more d6. And basically she responds with, it's a pretty good result. I'll match with 12. And basically you just feel like heavy hands on your shoulders, like something like grabbing your shoulders and like squeezing your shoulders really tight. And then I raise with, I don't want to go all the way here. I'm gonna throw in revealed mysteries as well for 2 more d8. And what she says is, yeah, good. What she says is, I'm going with 13 for my raise. She says, you can, now it's physical, like you can feel this entity, whatever it is, reaching out from behind you and seizing your throat and squeezing. And she says, I've learned something about the bountiful queen in recent days, Brother Ehud. And that is that she is a very physical queen. She likes to take matters into her hands from time to time. And sometimes the results are, well, unfortunate. And then there's like a very heavy squeeze on your throat, like it's trying to choke you out.
Yeah.
And now the fallout's worse. If you can't meet me in 2 dice, the fallout is like worse. It could like, but it's remote. It could kill you, but it's pretty remote. But it could be more long term.
I'm bringing in 3d8 Son of the Gunsmith as I kick my pistol up to my hands as I'm being choked and fire wildly.
So you're going to increase it to you're going to throw in the gun thing, and also you can add in your if you get any dice for rolling for guns. I think we may have used them all though.
I already used my pistol dice.
Okay. But if you get to increase, you get to add in your will now too, because you're going to gunfighting. So.
Oh, okay. So I get 3d6 in addition to 3d8.
Right.
All right. Well, we'll see if I can respond after all that has happened, or if the fallout's going to get worse. It's a tense scene.
It is.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. So what did you have? 13?
13.
Okay. Yes, I can match with 2 dice. And I don't think I'll add any other fiction to it, but I'll put 12 out there for my raise.
I yield and keep my 8.
Okay.
The gun goes off and the lights appear instantly. The pressure eases up off your throat. And she says, Brother Ehud, there's certainly no need for violence. I can see that I have not convinced you this night.
I'm like gasping for breath, and I'm like, leave this place now.
She smiles and says, I shall continue this missionary effort at a later time, I think. And then she just leaves.
Okay. Yeah, like just we can kind of cut from there, but know that I will have removed any of those dolls, destroyed them,
dolls up. Yeah,
and like had a firm talking to with Leah, I'm sure.
Indeed. Well, so it's the next day at church. I think maybe you come home, you guys, maybe you even like tell them, you know, what you experienced and everything and all that stuff. It's the next, unless you guys want to do something in the very late at night, we're just going to cut straight to the church scene. So, or the next day.
Yeah. And if you guys are interested in trying to drive a witch out, I won't press too hard for that now. We can try and do that later, but I'm telling you, she's a witch.
But again, she's responding to the demonic attacks, right? Her sorcery came after the dead babies. Got to get to the root of it. She's just a symptom.
Well, there's like actually 20 demons in this place. Demon over there, demon over here.
She's just a symptom. She's a symptom of the original demonic attacks, right? So a bad one. She's like she is what leads to horrible things, right? Like you want to, you definitely need to cut that off, but you're still going to be left with a problem in the town. If all you do is cut her out, that does one thing, but there's still more, right? Who knows? The bountiful queen theology might have taken hold, and maybe that keeps going, or who knows? But it's the next day. Everyone's kind of like making their way to church. Normally it's really happy, like the little kids running around and stuff, but boy, not in Black Brush Band. It's just a sort of like heavy, dour, sort of like almost death walk right to church, right? Like people just aren't filled with the spirit here, right? Like they should be. Sister Fidelia will wave at you, Brother Nuka. She's looking very, very fresh and pretty this morning. And even old Sister Clementine, you see her with Steward Artemis and Sister Mara, right? And she cleans up good, she's dressed appropriately and, she's covered up appropriately. She's got maybe just a bit of rouge on her cheeks, but, But yeah, everyone's kind of filing into the meeting house. It's a very simple meeting house with just like 2 rows of pews and like a sort of little altar space up at the front, or just basically a little lectern to stand at. It's not even elevated or anything. A very pretty stained glass window, which is a fancy thing, but nice, unusual because the building is otherwise just a very simple like clapboard kind of wooden church building. And everyone's kind of streaming in. I just want to go around the table and find out what you're doing, like before the sermon starts. Kind of are you just milling around, like looking for anything in particular? Brother Adam, what about you?
I've actually gone to the general store. I'm going to go and get Sisson and bring him. I think he needs to hear the sermon. I will have told the other dogs in case anyone wants to join me. But maybe you've got your own plans.
Say that again. Sorry, say that one more time.
I will have told the other dogs my plan. So if any of them wanted to join me, they were welcome. But
okay, so maybe
otherwise,
maybe we have a thing with Arthur Sisson. What about you, Brother Isaac?
I think if there's a mission to get Mr. Sisson, then that's definitely in my interest.
And Brother Nuka?
I don't know. I'm kind of torn. The only scene that I have in mind in my head is searching for the source of the evil. I again have some kind of like nature-esque scene in mind. That's the only thing that I have an idea for. So the rest I will just go along with.
I mean, like, I guess, like, you know, maybe I think there's like people like milling around, like talking and stuff before the sermon begins, right?
Yeah.
I guess, like, in that context, what would you be doing? Like, would you be talking to anybody in particular or following up on anything? I mean, you know, a few things, right? Sister Fidelia's husband was doing something last night when he was not home. You don't even know who that is yet. Her husband is. You know about, like, brother Aaron and brother Elijah, these two young men who've been shirking their work, right? Actually, you'll piece together pretty quickly that Sister Fidelia's husband is actually
Aaron?
Brother Aaron, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
So, and you'll see them together, right? Like, and you'll you know, like, you can introduce yourself or whatever, right? All that stuff will happen.
Sure.
So in that context, what would you be doing?
Yeah, I think I would be trying to learn more about Aaron and Fidelia then. I think I've got a certain amount of investment in the well-being of Fidelia, and if I piece together that Aaron is the husband, I've got a pretty good through line on that.
Okay. I'm into that. Give me 1 second. Pull up a picture of Brother Aaron. Love my pictures. Let's get a picture of Brother Aaron. Wait, not what I wanted. I had a bunch of these pictures pulled earlier, and then I was cleaning up my computer and I deleted a bunch of them. So now I'm having to just scrub the internet for him. He doesn't look very period piece in this one. I guess none of them do, but yeah, he's a good looking guy. You know, kind of he's about Sister Fidelia's age. You know, they're maybe a couple years older. Kind of scruffy beard and blonde hair, and he says, "Oh, Fidelia told me you walked her home last night after I guess she was out collecting herbs, which I thought was a strange thing to do at night. But thank you for seeing her home. I appreciate that, Brother Nuka."
You're welcome. Perhaps the stranger thing, though, is a wife left alone in the evening by her husband. Hopefully that is not a frequent thing, Aaron.
He says, "Well, I like to check the nets at night. You know, sometimes they get a little tangled up in the current, and I like to go out there and make sure they're, you know, I like to untangle things, you know, work out the kinks."
Yeah, it is even more curious than since Brother Isaac and I traversed almost the entirety of the town and didn't come upon you, even at the nets.
And at that point, another young man will come up.
What up, Elijah?
It's Elijah, yeah. It's Elijah. Let me get a picture of Elijah. Find a good one of him. And he'll come up, and he's also a very, very good-looking guy. We got like our good-looking guys here.
Yeah.
And he'll say, "Oh, I heard the dogs were in town. I'm Brother Elijah." And he kind of smiles and puts his hand out to shake your hand.
I shake it, and I do that thing where I put my other hand as sort of a grip on the wrist, and it's a little too tight with both hands.
And he kind of like looks at you and smiles and says, "You're pretty strong."
Well, us dogs need to be prepared for just about anything these days.
And he says, "Fidelia, Aaron, there's space over at the pew where I'm sitting if you want to come sit next to me." And Aaron's like, "That sounds great. Thanks, Brother Elijah." And he and Fidelia, they say, "It was good to meet you." And they go and sit in the pew they're sitting in.
Is her demeanor like
She's not friendly towards Elijah, if that's what you're asking.
Okay.
Yeah,
And towards her husband, is it like
there's a coldness, I guess. Yeah. She seems particularly annoyed by Brother Elijah, though. You can tell there's some tension there.
is her attire like something that someone who has been brutalized by her husband would wear to cover up everything?
Well, everybody covers up in this society, so you wouldn't really know, right?
Okay,
But
so it's just normal dress.
yeah. You didn't get the impression though that she's like that he's hitting her or anything like that, right?
Right. Okay.
When you were, because you spent quite a bit of time with her last night, right? Walking her back. So
that's true.
But they go and they sit down. Let's cut over to Arthur Sisson. Maybe this is happening like a little bit before that. Arthur Sisson is there and he sees you come in and says, I knew you'd need something. It's a good thing I stay open on Sundays. Even though Steward Artemis gives me heck about it working on the Sabbath, I always remind him, it's not my Sabbath.
So it's the two of us have walked in, right? Isaac and I. Adam walks up to the counter, if he's behind the counter. He said, this is not for us. And solemnly he says, this is for the King of Life.
Do you want to set stakes here? Do you convince Arthur Sisson to go to church?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a good thing.
It's clear.
It's going to happen, yeah.
I've got stats for him, so it'd be, I'm rolling 10d6. So. No, 11d6. And then if you want to get on this too, Isaac, you can.
I need you.
Are we able to bring in dog relationships to this?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
With those multiple.
Seems, yeah, I think it makes sense because you're both together, right? Doing your thing.
And acuity and heart.
Whoever's the red dice, they betrayed you. The yellow looks good though. While they're getting that sorted out, Brother Ehud, you're there, I guess, milling around as well, unless you're doing something different.
I am on my horse, just outside of the church near a window so I can hear. But the reason I'm outside is because I have my rifle and I have my pistol, and I'm making sure if Theodosia comes around, like, I'm ready.
Indeed. She does not. Yeah, she does not. So do we have our dice sorted, Isaac and Adam? You kind of made your move there. It seems like you were going to be the first raiser there, Adam, so go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, and he says this is not for us; it's for the King of Life, and your presence is requested at the church. And I'm gonna raise with a 6.
I'll see. And he says, brother, I'm not a member of your faith. I have no faith. I'm an atheist. I don't even believe in the King of Life or any God for that matter. And I'll let you raise as well, Brother Isaac. He has no other particular thing at this moment.
I'll appeal to his lack of faith here, and as a maker of the peace, as one who brings people of different dispositions together, I'll say that is well understood. Your oh, no, do I want to say your sinfulness is marked and noted. Consider that this is an opportunity to come to know your customers better and their needs. This is a different kind of mission, perhaps, to how you would normally approach, but it would be well in your interests worldly or otherwise, to join us.
What are you raising with?
Boom. I'm going to raise. I think 11.
That's a pretty good argument, I give. He says, yes, we are going to have a sale next week. It might be a good opportunity for me to well, we've got brand new nets coming in from back east, some using some new material that I've never heard of before, a new type of fiber. We've got, this is very good, very good. Yes, I'll come. Absolutely. Give me one moment to get my hat and lock the store up. And then he'll just go. We need to resolve Fallout from earlier. Nuka, you were rolling me like what, 66 Fallout or something? It was a bunch.
I was?
Or 64, yeah. Your Fallout from your encounter with Sister Fidelia.
Ooh. Okay. 6?
I think you had ended up with 64 total. Yeah.
Okay.
If I recall correctly, maybe getting it wrong. It's just D4.
So is it just the highest one? Is what we go with?
The two highest. We're looking for the two highest.
Oh, 2 4s, double 4.
Okay, so an 8 actually bumps it up to.
Uh-oh.
I think an 8 actually makes it
an improvement.
a longer term one. Did you get any ones by chance?
I
don't think you did. I remember, but maybe you did. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
Oh, did it?
It's
gone now?
Yeah. We'll just roll it again. We know you got 2 4s. Just see if you get any ones on the next roll.
Okay.
Yeah, you get a long-term Fallout.
I got 3 1s now.
Okay, so you get an experience Fallout and a long-term Fallout. So just look at the list on that tab and make your choices. Okay, there's 2 different lists. Experience. One's good, one's not great. And then just kind of go with whatever makes sense in the fiction based off that scene. And I think you have Fallout as well, correct, Brother Ehud? Yours was
I have 4.
Yeah, it was just talking though, right? You didn't take any Fallout when she started like hurting you, right?
Correct.
Okay, so you're gonna roll 44.
All right. Holy shit.
You're getting no experience and a long term. So go for it. And that should probably be something associated with your faith, I think, just based on how it went. So whatever you think makes sense. Look at the list.
What am I looking? Oh, I see it here.
On the tab, yeah. So good. And Arthur Sisson yields. No problemo. He says, this is going to be, as you guys are walking to the meeting house, he says, this is going to be really something. People are going to be pretty shocked to see me go through those doors. I hope the place doesn't collapse when I walk in.
Adam's quite confused because Isaac he wasn't like duplicitous or anything. He puts the argument in terms that Sissons could understand, and that's not something that Adam could do.
Right.
Yeah. So he's blew his mind with it.
So settling all those disputes between us, cubs of the pack, back home.
Indeed. And I think indeed when he does, like, Stuart Artemis is out there greeting people, and he sees Arthur Sisson, and he's like, Arthur, did the store burn down? What are you here for? and Arthur says, well, I want to integrate myself into the community, sir, just a little bit more than I have been. And he kind of winks at Isaac. and then goes in.
Stuart, we're all here to hear your best sermon.
He says, well, of course, Brother Adam. Traditionally, when dogs are in town, one of the dogs gets up and says a few words. I'm happy to kick us off, though. And he does. Once you all kind of go in, or once you get settled or whatever, he kind of remarks that you're all there. He says, and he gets a little grave, like, he doesn't like come out and say like dead babies, but he like kind of talks around it a little bit to where everybody knows what he's talking about. And he says, and he gives the sermon that you want, right? Like, where basically we've been turning a blind eye to some things, right? And Arthur Sisson, you can see, is getting a little uncomfortable sitting there, right? Like as the conversation turns to like we've been turning a blind eye to some things, Arthur Sisson is getting a little like, whatever. And then he says, and after he's done giving his word, his little talk, he says, well, now if one of our brothers from Bridal Falls would like to come up and say a few words, I think that would be very edifying for the congregation. Now the question is, who goes up of the four of you?
So he did say what Adam was hoping for, but he didn't like bring it out in the terms he was hoping for, because Adam wants blame on people in
he didn't cast like specific blame on anyone.
So I think Adam has to go up and he doesn't say a prayer, and he doesn't there's no formalities before he starts speaking, and he speaks in a low but commanding voice, and he asks the congregation, who here knows this man, and points at Arthur Sisson.
And everyone timidly like raises their hand, right? And Arthur Sisson's like looking really like left and right, like, what is going on here?
Yeah. And he says that, and who here knows of this man's sins?
And Sister Clementine goes, I do.
Thank you, sister. Please speak.
She's like, you're welcome, Brother Adam. She smiles, gives you a little wink. Oh, you want her to stand up and say something?
I wanted to tell the congregation what his sins are.
She stands up and she says, well, I'm not used to public speaking, of course, but I've known Arthur Sisson to be a very, very intellectual man. And I know that we look down on such things in the faith, that we're just supposed to keep our nose in the good book and not look to anything too sophisticated or highfalutin. And so, yes, in that regard, Arthur Sisson is a sinner of the worst sort, being something of a cosmopolitan gentleman, a man of the world, certainly. And we all know that Arthur Sisson keeps several jugs of moonshine and other spirits in his back of his place. And I have partaken, as you well know, all of you, especially my sister. Mara looks really embarrassed right now. So yes, sin, sin, sin. We've all sinned. But I say to you, and then she presses to you, Brother Adam, I say to you that you and your lot don't really understand what's going on in this town. Arthur Sisson and I have been debasing our spiritual selves for years, for decades, and everything's been just fine in Blackbrush Bend. I think there's something else going on. She turns, and then she casts an eye at Sister Fidelia and Aaron and Elijah. She says, I think there's something else going on, something that might drive a woman to seek out untoward companionship because she's not getting what she needs at home.
So I know this to be the person that Nuka was speaking with, right?
Right.
So, so I look to Nuka to see if he has any to see if he has any light to shed.
It's certain that these two men, or at least the husband, is not tending their home as they should. Fidelia was left alone last night, and these two men are known to whatchamacallit, not show up to work fairly frequently and leave the other members of the village on their own. It appears abandoning people is is what they intend to do.
At this point, Brother Elijah and Brother Aaron are looking a little like a little angry, a little upset. And Aaron stands up and he kind of lifts Fidelia up out of her seat as well and says, I don't have to sit here and listen to this. I don't have to sit here and listen to any of this, to you dogs or to you, Clementine. I certainly won't have someone like you casting aspersions on me. Let's go, Fidelia. And then he's going to just take her and leave.
As soon as he gets to the door, there's somebody on a horse with a rifle out there.
And he says, what? Are you going to shoot us?
Is something the matter, Elijah?
He's like, I am, according to the book of life and according to the laws of the king of life, I'm the head of my household. And right now, I'm tending to my household. Come on, Fidelia. And he just goes on.
This is Aaron, right?
Yeah.
Aaron, yeah. Aaron. Say, hold on a second now. We're not here to interfere with your duties to your household. We are here to make sure that you are tending to them, unlike you were last night. Why don't we just go back inside and have the rest of this conversation out there in the open?
And he will. He's not going to push the issue. He'll say, fine. And then he goes in and he sits back down. And then I think at this point, Brother Stuart Artemis will come up to you and say, Brother Adam, this is most unusual. Like if we need to minister to Brother Aaron or to anyone else, then we need to do it in private, not a public spectacle like this in front of the whole congregation.
Brother Stuart, you have had enough chance to do this in private. This gets done now. And Brother Adam calls out to the congregation again and says, and points at Aaron and says, who here knows this man's sin?
And Clementine goes, I do.
Well, maybe I speak up and I say, perhaps Fidelia, after last night and what we spoke of, you might speak up and make amends.
So I think the stakes here are, I think I'd like to set stakes there. Like, will Fidelia, say the truth of what's going on, right? Will she speak it aloud?
Yeah, and hopefully, the fact that she's around other people will only help that, as opposed to being in private with Aaron.
Yeah. I've got a forward 5 on you, Nuka. Nuka, do you want to roll against me here? Do you want to be the one to convince her?
Sure. I guess she would probably, she already has a relationship with me. So.
She does. Yeah, I've got 2d10 with you.
So I'm rolling what?
Acuity as well. Okay. Or no, acuity and heart. Sorry, acuity and heart.
Okay, so for my improvement, I increased my acuity, so it's now 9d6.
Okay, cool.
96.
I'm rolling 96 and 2d10.
Okay, ooh, I got a lot of 6s.
I got a
6s for days.
All right, so so I mean, maybe just calling her out is your raise if you want to just push some numbers forward.
Yeah, do the right thing, right, essentially.
Yeah.
And I will put forward. I think that I want that to be the most powerful move that I can do, is believing in her, basically, to do the right thing. So I'll put 2 6s forward.
Indeed. I don't have a very good set of traits here to call on number-wise. So I am going to take a relationship with my husband, though, or with Aaron, which is a 3d8 relationship.
snap. Aaron, the layabout.
Oh, I can't do all that yet. I can't. I should have rolled it earlier. My bad. I'll just get rid of those dice.
Oh, you have to do it
You
initially.
have to do it in the initial roll, yeah, for relationships. I'll just put forward 13, and she says, Brother Nuka, I'm supposed to be loyal to my husband. I can't speak out against him. I can't do it. I just can't do it. A wife is supposed to be loyal to her husband.
Which is like an admission of guilt in and of itself.
Yeah.
Okay. So I need to rebuke 13 here, right? So
Yeah.
I'm going to call on
Or no,
I care
no,
for
you
it.
raise. That was my meat. That was my C.
Oh,
it's
now
my,
I
it's my turn.
raise?
Yeah, it's my turn to raise. Actually, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. And I will raise with. I have a 5 held, so I'm going to raise with 10 total.
Gotcha.
And she's and then she says, Brother Nuka, there are many, many bad things going on in this town. And I know I've done some terrible things myself, hanging out with Arthur Sisson and Sister Clementine. But you have to understand that it's my own sin. It's my own weakness. It's got nothing to do with him. Nothing at all.
Oh. Okay. And I need to reload, I think. So all I see is a 5.
Oh, yeah, I have a 5 held from before. It's not on the table. It's just.
Oh, so it's 10.
Yeah, it's
right.
10. Yeah, you're up against 10.
Okay. Okay, so I'll meet that. And I'd like to call on another trait, which is I care for everyone, 1d10.
Okay, nice.
And
oh, wow.
boom. Boom. Okay, so yeah, I say everyone is held accountable eventually, but what we're talking about right now is you. And by being open and communicating here with everyone, we can start to do right by everyone. What you do here sets an example for the entire community. We are all responsible for it, as you are right now. I believe in you. Do the right thing.
So what's your raise?
Oh yeah, so the 10 just met you, right? And then
right, yeah. Natural
okay.
turn.
So I'll do you can't beat well, right now you might call on other stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go strong and do 16.
Oof. I'll give. She says, and she just begins crying. She just begins crying, and then and everyone at this point is like, it's really tense in the room, right? Like it's really tense, and Clementine is kind of like nodding, because I think Clementine has wanted her to like, say this, or whatever. And she just says, she looks at Aaron and she says, I'm so sorry. And she says, but Aaron and Elijah, I've seen them together. They spend so much time together. And I've even seen them, I've seen them kiss. I've seen them be physical with one another. And that's what drove me to Arthur Sisson's place, because I was just so upset. I just felt so alone. And then like Clementine like comes up to her and embraces her and hugs her, and all that stuff. And Arthur Sisson is like looking for the exit, basically, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing we got a man with a rifle back there, I guess.
And Aaron and Elijah they just kind of look at each other, and Elijah stands up and he's like, well, so there you have it, right? Fine. There you have it. Like, I don't know what to tell you except that, and then like Aaron's started trying to urge Elijah just to like shut the fuck up and sit down, right? And Elijah won't. He's like, no, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of this town. I'm tired of this place. Like, I'm tired of what the faith says that we should be. I'm sick of it, and I'm not And I don't know about you, but I'm done, Aaron. I'm done. I'm done with the faith. I'm done with Blackbrush Bend. I'm getting out of here.
So in the Book of Life, it is traditional faith in that they regard
homosexuality is a terrible sin.
Yeah, homosexual. Yeah, that's not flying. Like, if Elijah's leaving, like I would probably shout some slur after him. Like that's
okay. So we don't have any real fictional positioning to make this.
The matter is just the open question is, what do you guys do now? That's the thing.
And it's a terrible sin.
Well, yeah, I mean, like this is Sodom and Gomorrah type shit. Like we're lucky this place hasn't been nuked with, meteors from heaven.
Well, it's been hit with Sister Theodosia, so it's pretty bad. I mean, and a bunch of stillbirths and miscarriages. I mean, basically, I think the situation is Brother Aaron and Brother Elijah are enacting an injustice on Sister Fidelia by not allowing her to serve her role, right, as a wife.
Right.
And then she's been carrying on with Sister Arthur Sisson and Sister Clementine as a result.
Right.
Sin leads to demonic influence and so forth.
Yeah, right. So it has repercussions that have been rolling through the community.
Yeah.
So do we think this is the origination then?
It almost certainly is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good chance it is. In any case, the big question here is if Brother Aaron or Brother Elijah is still wanting to be a part of the faith.
Right. Yeah, that's the open question, like for you all, is like, how do you handle this? Are you just going to try to convince them to change the error of their ways? Are you going to if they resist you, you're going to drag them out of the street and shoot them? What are you going to do here? But probably at this point, the congregation is breaking up. Everyone's very very, I think everyone's really nervous and shocked and people are just dealing with the thing and the way they deal with it. You guys can meet up as a group and have this scene. Let's just take 2 minutes and we'll come back for the last hour. Okay.
Okay.
So there's there's a multitude of sins going on here, really, aren't there? According to the Book of Life.
Oh yeah.
And there's also the sin of worldliness, to show comfort in the presence of sin. And I think there's a fair few people in the congregation who have, well, pretty much the entire town, seems to have been sufficiently comfortable to let pass Elijah and Aaron's work shyness, as well as Clementine's debauchery.
Mm-hmm.
What are we talking about?
One of the sins is for people to be okay with people sinning around them, basically, and Jake was saying how pretty much most of the community seems to be okay with it, or know about it and not have acted, etc.
Yeah, if they're complicit, that would be a problem, but
so what? How do you want to resolve it? Because I think Adam would probably want to get it all done out in the open and like fixed in as much as it could be fixed there and then.
Like another church day or something, or
I mean, like, we've kind of blown the door open on this really all at once. So if Elijah is leaving town, like, that's fixing a big thing. If he's leaving the faith and leaving town, that's fixing a big thing. We need to we would need to rehab Aaron at this point if he's planning on staying in town
or something.
Well, yeah. I mean, that seems a little. I don't know. It seems like not quite the right solution here. Like, I don't know.
There's ceremonial options, like re-anointing him and stuff like this.
We'd be seeking for him to like repent.
Right, like a conditioning or something, right? Of getting rid of it.
Yeah, I mean, if he was like insistently like unrepentant, then we might like perform an exorcism on him. And if he were still insistently unrepentant, we'd probably perform another exorcism.
Okay.
I'm not sure that Brother Isaac would be especially keen for Elijah to be let go and roam the lands, spreading false doctrines. Really.
Well, I mean, if he's faithless, then like that's not our problem. He's kind of a Sisson type. But if he's like, he hasn't put out any heretical doctrine or anything.
Well, I don't know. It's not so much that he's faithless. I think the difference that I'm seeing with Sisson is that he was never in the faith, but Elijah was in the faith and has turned his back on the faith, and that gives an open or an in for other people to say, okay, well, I can get away with doing things that that I might feel otherwise constrained by within the faith. So, just from a kind of dogmatically naive perspective, I think that's possibly where Isaac would stand on it.
That makes sense. Like if that's where the fiction goes, Ehud will like interject himself to like try and kind of talk you back from it, because I think that he would just think, oh, he's faithless, he's going to hell anyways. That's his decision. Like what he does here on this earth like isn't of consequence to us anymore. But it would totally make sense if Isaac like was like, no, we got to do something about it. That would make sense.
So the real problem is the fact that Aaron is of the faith, and we need to deal with that problem, not the.
Yeah.
If Elijah is not of the faith.
Yeah, Elijah might be. I mean, I think Elijah is going to leave the community, right? Like he's not married. He's got no, he's got no attachments. He doesn't have the same kind of attachments that Aaron does, right?
And he is not like he's essentially what his words meant to me was he's renouncing the faith entirely. And
essentially, right? Yeah, he's done.
Yeah,
he's
okay, cool.
So the only thing we need to be careful of there is whether his connection with Aaron is, more than physical. If they are,
in love,
in love, that there might be some kind of, like, if Aaron were to stay in the community and still be in love with him, then that's going to still, that's not going to solve anything.
Yeah, we need Aaron to repent, and we need him to know that, if he was ever in love, he was in love with like the lies of the devil or whatever. Like, this is like, I feel very, very, very strange right now. I feel like I probably feel like a German playing a Nazi in a story, but
that's a good analogy. Yeah, but
welcome to Dogs in the Vineyard.
Exactly, that's what I was just going to say. This is what that game is about, right? Like, this is all about his trying to express how he felt as Mormonism.
Right. I just want to put that out there because I don't want any of you to like walk away from here thinking like this is what David believes.
Yeah.
No, this is just what somebody in like the 1800s who was a Mormon / like dogmatic Christian might have believed. That's not what I believe.
Yeah, exactly. I think everyone's like uncomfortable with the subject matter moving forward, right? Yeah. So, I think what you guys have laid out is right. We have to deal with Aaron, and I guess if I am honestly quite happy if the good book is like, this guy's not a faithful, so you can ignore him. I'm fucking happy with that. Yeah.
On that note, though, I think Adam is going to want to run Sissons out of town. He's going to want to, because Sissons is just going to be a festering pustule in the town, whether
that feels like
solved or not.
I'm into that. It feels like an epilogue thing to me. It doesn't feel like a principal conflict at this point.
Sure.
But
we still have one more session, right?
No, we don't. This is the last.
This is the final session.
Yeah. And we would wrap up the town regardless, even if we had one more session. So,
right. Okay, so we should. I'd like to handle it in a reasonable manner, though. Like, I'm not really comfortable with going to this guy's house and it being like a Gaston and like Beast and the Bell, the town is coming for you type thing, though. If that's cool. To going after Aaron. Going after Aaron.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think that's quite what we would do at this point.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
I will point out that you will learn just through like the grapevine, like in town as you're as like church is letting out or whatever. You'll learn that Sister Theodosia has skipped town. She did last night. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Good.
But that's kind of bad though. Like, don't we need to go after her?
Well, and if there were going to be future sessions, and there might be, I might put more on the calendar later. But if they're in future sessions, she would continue to be a problem, right? Like
for sure.
She would definitely be a recurring, villain or whatever.
Yeah, but we can't leave without dealing with Aaron, and she knows that, so she's taking advantage of it, I'm sure. So
yeah, exactly. You can't go after her, right? Like, I guess you could, but that would end the session because now we're done with Blackbrush Band. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I say we go to Aaron and we we'll confront him and try to de-escalate and whatchamacallit, can recondition him into the faith.
Shall we set stakes? I think stakes would be you.
I feel like all we need to do is find out if his heart is pure.
Right.
Because if that's the case, then we can easily guide him back to the right path. It's not an evil an evil choice, as it were.
Well, let's just see what the scene goes. So do you guys go up to their house or what?
Sure. Yeah. But do we escort them home?
You can just go. You can just go find them later. They don't live that far away. It's fine.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, probably the stakes would be like whether or not we can pressure him into suppressing his own desires.
Yeah. Let's just see how the scene goes. So you find him. I think he enters the door even, and he's like, "Well, I was wondering how long it would take you to get here.
Mm-hmm.
I heard Elijah already grabbed his stuff and headed out."
And that's removing temptation for you, brother. We're not.
I want to give Isaac the option of like, Isaac, if you don't want to be there, if you do want to go after Brother Elijah, I'm into that. If you want to just have it be the three of them while you go confront Elijah, I think that's fine.
And that'd be interesting as well.
Ooh, yeah. Okay. I can only see that ending in one possible way, which
Well,
isn't pretty.
You could ask Nuka to come because he does know how to track people and he's good out in the wild and stuff. So if your perception of Elijah is that he is fleeing and he needs to be caught,
you can catch him before he gets that far. I don't think that's necessary. Yeah.
Okay. Well, whatever you want
then. Yes, I will in that case. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So we'll get to that in a moment. You're with Brother Aaron, the three of you, and he says, "I was wondering how long it'd take you to get here." You know, he says, "I heard Elijah's already getting ready to leave town," and you can tell he looks really like sad about that.
It's removing temptation from your life, brother. This is the only way we can get you back on the path.
And he sighs and says, "Yeah." And he says, "Come on in." Sister Fidelia's there, and she's been crying, right? She's upset.
And I nod to Nuka and Adam, and I'm like, I better speak with her.
I say to Aaron, oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'll leave them to deal with Aaron, and I'll speak with her.
Yeah, I'm interested in finding the thrust of it, same as you, Adam. I want to find out if he's in love as well, so I'll follow your lead.
Yeah, I go for the like straightforward question. I say, you chose not to go with him. You had the chance while we were getting our horses, and you left the church. You had the chance to go with him. Leave the town.
He's like, "Yeah, I guess I did have the chance, but I mean, Fidelia is still my wife. This is still my home. I still have shares in a business. I can't just pack. I can't just leave all that."
What is it that you love about your wife?
I assume you're not saying this in front of Fidelia, that Fidelia is with...
Yeah, I figured they were in separate rooms or something.
Yeah. He'll say... He'll just kind of stand up and say, "Look, are you... What do you want me to say here?"
The truth.
Fidelia's a very nice girl. And we were very good friends for a time. And I suspect we will be again soon enough.
That's so sad. Okay, so Adam, what do...
I ask him
the answer, so.
I ask him, why did you hurt her?
He's like, "I didn't mean to hurt her. I don't know. I don't know. Look, Brother Elijah and I, we just, we're really close. We're very, very good friends. And I think the world of him. I think the world of her. It's not, look, I'm going to get it all together. All right. Like, everything's going to be fine. I'm going to rebuild my household. We're going to have kids. It's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay."
I look over at Nuka when he says that.
You don't believe him?
No.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut to Elijah and Isaac. You see Elijah like packing up his horse outside the little cabin that he stays in. And he looks at you and he says, he sees you coming. He's like, "So you came all alone?" To Isaac. Chad, can you hear us?
Yeah, Elijah, I have. I can't let you leave Blackbrush just like that. There's a lot of stuff that's happened as a result of your sin that has caused a whole series of problems.
I'm leaving. Everything's going to be fine. The rot has been carved out of the apple, so to speak. All right, I'm gone. Blackbrush Ben doesn't have to worry about me anymore. He's like, Fidelia doesn't have to worry about me anymore. And then he gets a little choked up, and emotional. And he says, Aaron doesn't have to worry about me anymore.
Aaron doesn't, but it's not just Aaron whose lives you've affected here. There's Fidelia. You've put your townsfolk in a difficult position. The generations have been lost as a result. The children that have not been born as a result of the sin that you've brought upon the town. This is something that the whole community has to suffer with and face. It's not simply Aaron who has to live without you. There is much to answer for. Apart from it being a sin, this is a crime, and you must face justice. So return to town with me, and face that, and then perhaps there is some dignity to restore within your life.
And he's pretty emotional at this point, and he says, and he kind of puts his hands out. He's on his horse, but he puts his hands out. And he just says, he's like, I loved him. I still love him. And I'm not going to go back there with you or with anyone else and say anything different. If we weren't meant to be together, I don't believe the King of Life would have brought us together. It's as simple as that, Brother Isaac. It's as simple as that. And so, no, I do not repent. I am not going back with you. If you want to shoot me dead, fine, shoot me dead, but just do it quick.
Is that a good place to set stakes?
He won't resist you. You have full control here. The answer is
I don't want to take you back.
The question is, what do you do?
So I'll give it another chance. I'll say to him, I'm not going to take you back to repent. I'm not going to take you back to change your ways. But there is justice to be met, and you've created problems for the steward to keep that community on the straight and narrow, and it is your obligation to return to the town and allow him to decide what fate you must face.
He smiles. He smiles and says, "You can't do it, can you?"
You can either come back with me now, or I can.
You can dispense.
I can mete out justice here. I'd rather not. But if that's the choice that you're giving me,
he says, "I don't think you can. I think you're too scared. That's what I think." And he's openly crying at this point, barely gasping out the words.
So Brother Isaac fumbles in his coat for his book of life, and he fumbles on the other side for his gun. He steps off his horse. And puts the gun down and opens the book of life to read a passage that is one of reconciliation and divine justice. And I extend my hand with the book to him. Come back with me. or I can read your last rites.
He hides the horse and turns it around to go away.
I execute my duties as a dog.
Indeed. Brother Ehud, Sister Fidelia is pleading with you. She says, just give me some time to work on him, Brother Ehud. I know I can reach him. I don't care. Brother Elijah got into his head, and he's just his thinking is just muddled. But I know with enough prayer and I know we can get everything back together. I know we can make it right. I just know it.
And I think we're like sitting in chairs across from each other, and I like grab her hands. She's probably gesturing and things. I'm just grabbing her hands to try and gain some intimacy and like get her attention.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sister, you're gonna be able to work through this, but I gotta speak frankly with you. It's not gonna be easy, and I'm gonna have to ask you some questions you're probably not gonna want to answer.
Like what?
Have you ever been with your husband?
You mean like been with him?
That's what I'm asking.
She's like, no.
Then I gotta ask this too. Do you want to still be his wife? Because you don't have to be.
She's like, yes, I do. Yes.
All right. That's good. That's what the Lord wants too. But it's gonna be strange for him, and it's gonna be strange for you. But sometimes the best you can do is just keep on trying and keep on working it. And even if it doesn't seem normal, one day it will.
And she nods her head. Yes.
And it's for you to keep drawing him back in if he seems to be straying. You need to be a strong woman of faith here.
And I think we'll cut there. So back with Brother Aaron. I mean, what's your judgment here? How do you think this is going? We can set stakes to like, do you convince him to at least put Elijah out of his mind, or at least like try, you know? I mean, but are you going to like fully get him back on track here in this moment? Probably not. Are you going to, you know, be certain that his shaken faith or his straying is done? Probably not. But you can set stakes for something. Something that will give you enough peace of mind so that you can move on to the next town.
Yeah. I'm of two minds on that. I think that would be interesting as well, but I also, I was thinking it would almost be neat to have, at the same time as Ehud saying those things to Fidelia, to, like, if it was a movie, just keep switching between the two and we're saying the exact same words to him, you know, like an automatic program structure thing, right? So that even the audience is like, this is sad, you know? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that works, except I don't think he would be giving the same answers, or at least in spirit. Maybe in words.
As for the well, I don't know. I thought he kind of was, right? He was like, "Oh no, it'll be fine. We'll have kids and all that kind of stuff." Like, it may not be perhaps as earnest as Fidelia talking with Ehud, but I think it would be the similar type of conversation.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure he'd be saying the same words, but I don't think Adam believes him.
Okay, so what does that mean for Adam then?
If we can, I would probably wait for Ehud to come back, and the three of us maybe can talk it through. So I think we need to do that.
Sure.
Yeah, and I don't know if you want to try and tackle this creative constraint, Jason, but I would probably have brought his wife back with me so that she could be a further influence in the discussion. But I don't know if you want to try and do that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just want to know, like, what are you guys going to try to accomplish in the scene? Like, what do you think is reasonable to accomplish, and what are you going to try to accomplish?
Yeah, I will say out of character, Nuka is like, I think what he's thinking about is the kind of same alienation. Like, he's seeing the same alienation and symptoms of his own people in this person. So I think in his mind, consciously or not, he wants to he wants Aaron to say the right things so that we can go and just leave, basically.
Ehud wants, like, I mean, he believes in this. He wants
you take them both and go, now kiss.
No, you don't do anything like that. But I mean, he wants to establish reestablish like whatever the intimacy was that prompted them to get married in the first place, and like encourage them to perform their marital duties to one another, and to like kind of set the expectation that it won't be normal for a while, but they need to keep doing it. They need to keep living their lives and performing their duties to one another until it starts to feel normal.
Which is probably what we were, like exactly what we were taught back at the camp.
Yeah,
I mean, they'll both agree to that. Like, that's fine. I mean, they'll both agree to that.
The only thing is that Adam doesn't. I don't think that that's enough. No. I think like the goodness and the trueness of the King of Life comes from an honest and secure place, and as sincere as Adam is when he's being straightforward, it's a perfectly typical thing for him to do. There's no forcing himself to feel a different way, and I don't think he trusts that somebody else could do that to themselves either. So he doesn't believe that Aaron can just. No, I guess he thinks he's lying.
Well, the question then is like, what do you do about it? I mean, that's the big question. Like,
so
they're saying they're going to do it. Aaron is acknowledging he was in sin, and they're going to change their ways and they're going to work on it. I think it sounds like that's good enough for Isaac and Ehud, but
or what would it convince Adam to believe them? I guess is the other way.
Yeah. Are you gonna do like the answer as quickly as you can, with the last question being like, "Do you actually believe this?"
Yeah, I don't think he would. I don't think he would believe it.
There's no way. There's no convincing you.
I don't think so. Because of all the reasons that we'd asked them both. You know, I
think it's reasonable to be suspicious of it, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
So the question though then is, what are you going to do about it though?
Yeah. So I need to convince you two that he needs to be out with the faith.
Also, like, excise him from the community.
I think that's what Adam wants. So, but it's 2 against 1, and
so is that stakes? You guys are rolling against each other. That's cool.
That's fine
sounds
with me.
Interesting. Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody roll acuity and heart.
Okay.
Cool.
Also, based on the fallout that I took before, that's I put a 1d4 trait, and it's just called "Am I Wrong?"
And also, you can probably take your dog. You can all take your dog relationship if you have a relationship with dogs. You can include that here. I think.
Yeah, and I'm adding a relationship with Leah as well. I'm going to add that in. If that sounds all right.
Leah's the.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Leah's the pregnant woman.
Yeah, Fidelia. I'm curious what happened to Leah though.
Oh, sorry. What was the stats again? Acuity and heart.
Yeah.
Okay. So
8.
9. With my dog relationship, that brings it to 10d6.
And
wait.
stakes are do you basically the stakes are like, are you going to let Aaron try to work it out with Fidelia, or are you going to kick him out of the community? So,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just waiting to roll until everybody stops moving all this stuff. I think that would be easier.
I'm going to step away for 1 sec.
All right. What an interesting turn of events. All right.
So, Brother Adam, you are red.
I'm purple.
Brother Adam.
Adam is red, yes.
Okay. So it looks like we initially have the advantage on you.
Mm.
Yeah. Which maybe implies no, nothing. Doesn't imply I'm going to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, you saw how much I fought tooth and nail to get my way. So,
So do we have all dice on the table?
Yes.
All right. I only see 2 sets. Who's the...
The purples are to the far, far right of the
Oh,
screen.
oh, got it. No, I have to... Okay, all right. My screen's not that big, so... it's okay. I can just scroll. It's no big deal. All right. Well, so then why don't you have first raise then, Adam?
Brothers, this sin goes deeper than mere words. To use words to defend against the sin, that's not taking any poison out. I'm going to raise with 9.
You're putting 9 out there.
Yeah, I'll put it in the middle down there.
And you both have to see. So.
oh, both. Okay.
I will match his 9.
Yeah, same. 6 and a 3.
And just if one of you wants to respond in the fiction, I think that's fine. So.
Brother Adam, I know that you are reluctant to be, but you are a leader among us. And we will continue to work under you, but what more can we ask for in this circumstance? There's nothing beyond words. The remorse that we can see in their eyes, which are the gateway to their hearts. We can continue to monitor the situation, but what else would you have us do?
Nice.
That kind of sounds like a raise as well as a C.
Yeah, Destiny as well.
Do we both raise, or does just one of us raise?
You can have that as your raise too, brother. Go for it.
Okay. Thank you. I will raise 11.
Right. What color are you, David?
I'm green.
Okay.
So that's the 5 and the 6 at the top, or the 5 and the 6 on the right?
The 5 and the 6 at the top. I guess it doesn't really matter, but
no, sorry. Okay, 9. Yeah, I'm gonna take some fallout for that one. He says, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what we should do.
Oh.
But that doesn't make my point any less real. Yeah, so I've seen you with 3, so I need to take some fallout.
So do I need to match it as well?
Yeah.
No.
Because he was that was just Adam responding to Ehud.
Okay.
That green 5 and 4 in the upper left, was that your first move?
That was my matching him.
Yeah, okay, I thought so. They just didn't clear when I clicked the button. So there we go. All right. I think we're all good. All right, so it's your move, Nuka.
Okay. I'm gonna put 9. And my response is that fundamentally we need to believe in the people that we're tending to. Without that, and assuming the best intentions of the people, we will be lost.
Yeah. I think I need a
We need to roll some traits. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got
But-
hard to read.
Yeah, some of these are not
Hard to be
apt
shaken.
right now. Yeah, I think he is
Hard
a
to
bit
be
shaken
shaken,
though.
definitely.
He's shaken, so I don't
Oh.
think that works at the moment. I can't roll that one in. But he is still being patient. So I'm going to roll a d6 and hope I get a nice one.
Sure.
All right. Okay. So I'll see that. Yeah. We can see with their deeds, their acts, not just their words. They've built their relationship on lies, and those lies have spread throughout the community. The sin has happened. Saying no more sin will happen, it's a lie. Yeah. And so I'm going to raise with 8, and I'm going to say he has to leave. Like I've taught myself through to this point now. He has to leave.
Okay.
So we both have to meet it, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Not just leave, but he has to be excommunicated or the.
Right. Okay, so I'll put up a 5 and a 3 as well.
Yeah, I will do likewise.
I'm trying to formulate a good response, though. I think my response will be is the falling back on the root problem was Elijah, and he is gone. With that gone, we can assume that the sin, I think reasonably, will be gone. He will not be tempted again, and both seem sincere to me.
And I can handle the raise.
Yeah, you can just see with your dice if you don't want to do any fiction. It's fine.
Yeah, I saw with my dice. But one of us needs to raise, right?
Right. Yeah, I think it's you.
Yeah, I can raise. And I'm going to bring in my read the good book every night trait.
Yeah. The Ehud standby.
Bringing in that outside knowledge, which is, what do I have that statted at? Oh, D10. It's a powerful stat.
Yeah, I think this is probably it, right? There's probably not going to be much that Brother Adam can do here. 2 against 1 is hard.
Yeah, I'll just pile it on. Really, I'll put this. I'll put this 9 and this 8 out there.
Beat a 17, Brother Adam, with your no dice.
What did you say?
Brother Adam, I think that you need to pay closer attention to the good book. When we have someone who's truly repentant of their sins, then what did the good book tell us? That we are supposed to have grace upon them, and we are supposed to try and draw them back into the fold and not drive them away, as long as they are truly repentant and trying to reconcile. And what we have here is exactly that. We have a husband and a wife. The husband has fallen into a grave sin, and the wife has allowed him to do so, damning herself just as surely as he is damned. But both are willing to do what it takes to get back on track, to truly be forgiven and live their lives as if they can be pure in the eyes of the one who sent us here. Please, Brother Adam, reconsider.
Are you shaking, Brother Adam? Or are you not shaking?
So, as you get to the end of that, he reaches his hand to his hip and pushes his coat back and pulls the hammer back on his gun while it's still in the holster, and says in gritted teeth, "This town will not be cleansed of sin until we cleanse the sin from this town." And then releases the hammer, and I yield.
Wait, so you shoot Aaron?
No, I think he just cocked his gun and then let the hammer back down as he kind of relaxed.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Got it. Okay, well, let's just go to epilogue for the town, and then we'll do the little between town bit where you advance or whatever, and then we'll call it a session. Brother Isaac, where did we see you at the end of Blackbrush Bend? Do anything in particular? You did just shoot Brother Elijah, so that's a thing.
Yes, I did. So I'll perform some rites on him, bury him, and make sure that his mortal remains are sanctified to this extent that they won't become.
Can you do that for someone who's not of the faith?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, it seems normal. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'll if his horse
you
is
did read him his last rites before you shot him, so
it's true. So I'll scatter some of my sacred earth as part of his burial mound, and
maybe at some point he had true faith and he'll just work his sin off in purgatory and then move on.
We'll find out next time we roll through Blackbrush, I'm sure. Otherwise, things have just gotten a whole lot worse. And then I'll wander back into town and meet up with the rest of them.
What about you?
Did you tell us that you killed him?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll explain what happened. I gave him the opportunity to return to face territorial justice as well as consider his position. He was pretty adamant he didn't want to do the latter, and pretty clear that he didn't want to do the former either. So he left no choice but for me to cauterize the wound, shall we say, to cut out the root of sin before it spread to the other parts of the land.
I see. Okay. Whew. I think this whole thing has really shaken Nuka, like, to the core. So I think his epilogue scene would just be like going off on his own into the woods and getting some herbs and like heating them up and everything. And he makes a new tattoo, which is like his wounds that he doesn't want to forget, essentially. And I think it's all in like a different language and all that, but the tattoo is essentially like he's experienced a lot of pain here, and he's not sure if he is currently on the right path. And it's specifically from seeing like semi-marginalized from his own people and the dogs as well, and then recognizing that in those two, and then just being too much of a coward to, like, he even told Fidelia, like, hold on to that feeling. It's what you truly think is right and wrong, and his real feeling is that he was wrong in doing that.
Nice. What about you, Adam? What's your epilogue?
I think Adam's probably so he wants to kick out the store owner, but
Right.
I think more like interestingly, I think he probably takes time out of some towns to come back sometimes. I think so as they're doing their route in more towns, he might take a day out and come back to Blackbrush to see, because he although the other dogs convinced him not to do anything, I don't think they convinced him.
You follow up on it, right? And you would probably take a relationship with either Aaron or Fidelia at that point,
actually,
right?
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
Terrific. What about you, Ehud?
Ehud's is sitting on his bedroll. I guess we're either at a camp or stopped in another town, and he's doing a needlework that he has kept hidden, because this is like, it's a feminine task, but it's like a non-essential feminine task. You know, there's no point to needlework really from a practical standpoint, but he's still doing it. But he's kept this very, very secret, and he's reciting scripture to himself, but he's also thinking in his mind about his male lover that he had, his infidelity, and how he must repress it. And that's the scripture that he is reciting, how he must repress that. This love for this man who made him feel like a woman.
That sounds like a good reflection fallout, or a good reflection thing. Let's talk about reflection. So between towns, basically you get to take an experience fallout from the experience fallout list, and then you also, if you check the rules reference tab, you'll see you also have to choose one of several things there as well. So you'll choose one from the experience fallout, and then one from the reflection fallout, and then also you still owe me some fallout as well, Brother Adam, from your last conflict, 44.
Yeah, I rolled that.
Okay, good.
I got a 1, but I don't think I got a large one. I got short turned, didn't I?
All right. But anyway, you guys will choose an experience fallout now, and then as well as one of the lists from the reflection fallout, or one of the lists from the reflection fallout. Yeah, like, you kind of kicked us off there, Brother Ehud. So what would you choose from, like, what would you fundamentally change about your character's traits and whatnot based off what you told us just now, based off, all that? You can think about it for a minute.
I think I would sew this needlework onto the inside of my coat.
Okay. Like that. That's nice.
So I'm rewriting my coat to reflect repairs or replacement.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
It says change your dice if it's called for. I don't know that it is, but yeah.
Nice. And then you'll get an experience fallout as well. Anybody else know what they're going to do for their reflection?
Yeah, I'm gonna increase the die on Am I Wrong? I think that fits. I think the seed was planted by Fidelia, and then it grew even more. For reflection, I'm thinking that maybe I'll take another relationship increase, in that he's even more willing to see other perspectives now from other people.
Cool. And what are you thinking, Brother Isaac?
It's a tough one. I think the thing that Isaac was holding on to in that last scene was really the relationship that he had with his dog pack and the importance of the role of traditional family in his upbringing. And I don't know. I think that I think he's kind of in some ways it's that sense of it is reinforced with what he's seen come out of the resolution between Aaron and Fidelia as well that the other dogs have managed to do. So I'm thinking that it might well be reinforcing his dog pack relationship.
Okay.
Possibly.
Yeah, sounds good. And what are you thinking for your reflection, Brother Adam?
So if I took, I increased the dice size from the fallout from the conflict we just had. I increased the dice size with patient with companions, and then I chose to have 2 experience fallout. So I've got a relationship with Brother Aaron now,
Okay.
and I've taken a 1d6 relationship with these dogs, these 3.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
I think he's grown and learned a lot, and he's learned to trust them too.
Awesome. Great. That was a lot of fun. I was going to jump onto Discord for our debrief, but I'm going to stop this broadcast for now.